so much different than when you've got the restream, when you got a tournament feeling, you got all that pressure. So getting the experience in like this, regardless if you're able to keep going on in the tournament or not, is super, super useful.
So we are off. We get a little bit of a Star Wars quote for Star Wars Day, May the 5th, of course. From Uncle to start off, and a full heart container. That defense is going to be welcome early for both of our runners.
That it is. And that's also a reference to the old Legend of Zelda cartoon, which Link loved to say that line for some reason.
Classic Link. It looks like Sharky went with the Sonic the Hedgehog sprite. He wants to go fast. Sonic, of course, famous for going fast, so a good decision. On the left, it looks like Indecisive Ninja. I believe that is the Manga Link sprite. Is that true? Can anybody confirm or deny that? One of the many stylized Link options. And we get the bow here from Uncle.
That is my favorite weapon from a just gameplay standpoint to get from Uncle.
So it cut. Ooh, and we got a power glove in that first chest. So that makes for interesting routing here. So we got 30 arrows. That bow comes with 30 arrows from Uncle. Normally, when you get it, you're not going to get those that quiver refill. And Indecisive Ninja grabs the bomb right off the bat. So anything I was going to say about bombs is rendered largely irrelevant with that being so early in the prize pack. Let's see if Sharky can pick up a bomb as well. He's just going to keep going though. He's not even going to bother farming. So that power glove, that means that there's not that much of a risk to not picking up a bomb here. So despite having those 30 arrows with which to play and only needing to kill 5 enemies in this game for a total of, I don't know, how many arrows is that total? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 arrows you need to kill enemies. That gives you an extra 20 to farm for bombs with. Indecisive Ninja is going to take advantage of that. Already has the bomb. Sharky just going fast. You can see he's already a little bit ahead.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see if he ever takes time to really look for that bomb, since you don't need to worry about it. But it's still much more convenient to just route in the back of Escape while you're here, instead of having to drop back down.
Absolutely, and it looks like Indecisive Ninja is even caught up a little bit. Grabs both of our runners using those pots to take out some of those blue guards. Those pots doing level 3 sword damage. So even though that bow might not take them out in one shot, that pot certainly will. Extra 5 arrows from Indecisive Ninja from that drop, so he's got even more resources to play with, while Sharky's just going for pure speed.
Not gonna lie, I wonder why whoever designs pots in this kingdom doesn't also make the weapons, because clearly they're better at weapon design.
I mean, if that's the part of Hyrule that you want to question, go right ahead, but I think if you look too closely at this game, you'll start to question the reality a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So they're going to head down. There's a couple of options to destroy this ball and chain guard here. He'll take 4 arrows, and that'll be it. He'll take 2 pots and some combination thereof. Indecisive Ninja deciding to go with the 4 arrows, and Sharky's going to do the same. Definitely the fastest way, and both of our runners will probably be pretty happy to see that 10 arrow refill. Not quite a progressive item, not quite money or bombs, but still valuable for making sure you don't run out of ammo. That rat at the very end can be tricky.
Yep, the ammo constraints, they do give you ammo back if you save and quit or die after running out, but you really don't want to have to run the risk of having to do that.
And another arrow drop. So Indecisive Ninja and Sharky are both back up to full 30 arrows here. That is the max by default, and that is how many they have today. So our princesses are going to make their way up with our heroes back to the back of the throne room.
And we already know the next chest they open is going to be a key, because otherwise they would be stuck and, you know, just kind of hanging out in the dark sewers, bored.
And if there's one thing we can be sure of is that this randomizer is perfectly coded. Shout out to the development team. Never been a soft lock in the history of this game.
Never, ever. Except for those couple times.
Never. That's great. So we're at 4.5 minutes in, getting to the back. So a little bit behind schedule as far as wanting to get out of here within those 6 minutes. But that 6 minutes is pretty tough, especially when you have a non-standard weapon like the bow.
Yep, it's one of the things that has been very nice about this tournament using this new randomized sword standard is that getting all these non-conventional weapons for Escape has made for some interesting strategies being born.
Definitely puts emphasis on the runners to practice all of the different openings. And with so many resources available, setting up those bomb jumps, watching other people's streams and videos on how to farm for bombs when you're using those arrows, all are extremely valuable and helpful resources from the community for getting our runners through these escape sequences. Certainly don't want to go into this blind not knowing what you'll do if there is something like a bow or a cane or bombs in the intro.
Yeah, bombs especially going in blind is very tough.
So it looks like Sharky is going to spend a minute here trying to get that bomb drop. Does, along with a 20 rupee drop, so he's going to be at 72 rupees. This is a pretty comfortable number of rupees. We got about the same on Indecisive Ninja's side. You want to get to Kakariko with about 100 rupees. That'll help getting the money for the bottle vendor. Bonus if you can get a little bit more than that, because you can spend 50 rupees on 10 bombs, which are nice for going out of your way. And there's actually an extra bomb drop here for Indecisive Ninja as he shoots some arrows at these rats to pass the time. Another full heart container, the map, which is a necessary evil, but most importantly, the moon pearl.
Okay, so we're 2/3 of the way to Dark World access already. That's nice to see by the end of Escape. Kind of cuts that chance of Aghanim down a little bit.
Aghanim, of course, a several minute detour that some of our runners will opt to take or be forced to take in certain seeds. Everybody wants to avoid it.
Oh yeah, especially with the ever-looming threat of the RNG just hating you and giving you 15 blue balls on the fight. The more you can do to avoid it, the better.
And it looks like Indecisive Ninja is going to walk out of the sanctuary. Zelda safely returned with a cool 100 rupees. So, we'll see what kind of... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, between the money in Kakariko and that $100, that's enough to buy the bottle vendor item and a stock of bombs.
And it looks like Indecisive Ninja is going to take more or less a standard opening here, going up north. Check these tree poles. These tree poles can give very valuable resources at the beginning, and that is about as best as you can do with those 80 rupees dropping from that tree. So, well, he has the ability to set that up again if he wants. Oh my goodness, and 8 bombs at a time from the bush crab. It doesn't get any better than that. So he does have the ability. He would have to kill 4 enemies and get hit, take a little bit of damage in order to get that tree pull again. But there are 4 enemies in his way coming up to the next tree pull. Looks like he's going to avoid that first pickle man there.
That's 1 down. Rupees.
Oh yeah, but you gotta think about Zora. You gotta think about your resources. Now is the time. But he's going to pass on that opportunity. Going to go with speed instead. Passes on those 3 bombs as well. 9 is enough for him, and honestly, it's enough in general. Pull it on the wrong tree there, Indecisive Ninja. Decide on the right one, please. And see, it's just 4 rupees that time. So it's important to be aware of these mechanics so you can optimize your time and efficiency as far as resources early. And another full heart container.
Giving them a decent amount of health to start out. It's not always a thing that you get from Randomizer. Sometimes you're an hour in with like 5 hearts, so it's a good start for them. But yeah, I was gonna say with the 180 rupees, going for the tier 1 tree pull is sometimes a little bit better just to have that knowledge of what it has, instead of going for more rupees that you don't immediately need.
Information certainly is power in this game, and we'll see our runners go out of their way at various points of this run to get information instead of items, because it can prove to be very, very valuable. Sonic looks absolutely adorable holding up that full heart container. He's going to push on the wall a little bit, flex his muscles for us. These sprites are excellently done by the community. You can see that thief in the hideout there. A little bit of extra red in her hair today. We got 300 rupees, so we are loaded on money for the rest of the seed here, more or less. We got that 500 and a little bit more going to be in these pots. Sharky going to take a little bit of a detour getting to Kakariko Village.
We get that early book there, which a lot of times an early book does mean desert is going to be relevant pretty early on, but you hope to find the boots before heading over there.
So we're going to clear out the rest of Kakariko on both of our runners' side. Pretty standard openings for our runners. Not a lot to do here. This is by far the densest item for densest area for items at the very beginning of the game. which is why it's so popular at the beginning.
Yep, and we get a bottle down here, which means we can check the sick kit. Gives us just one more item to find over in this area. So now it's up to 14 in the area.
And we're going to get even more defense in the bottom of Kakariko Well with that blue mail upgrade. So our runners are already at 7 full hearts apiece, as well as that blue mail. Gonna be sitting pretty going into those Dark World dungeons.
Yep, the blue mail is a massive help, especially in those early force dips into, you know, Skullwoods, Thieves Town. Having that blue mail makes it a lot easier to get through them unscathed.
Very excited to see what the blue mail looks like for Sonic, the famously blue hedgehog. Now, at this point, our runners are already thinking about where their next move is. So they've gotten a couple of items. They do have the bow. We haven't gotten a map check on either side, but I imagine we'll get that shortly. Eastern Palace is something that's interesting. If it were to be a crystal or even a pendant, it does have 3 items. Can only be full cleared if you have the bow. The logic's going to tell you that the lamp is required. There's a couple of dark rooms. The lamp really helps you see. Logic will never force you into those dark rooms. But we'll see if our runners are up to the task of navigating those despite not having the lamp or even a sword for that matter.
Yeah, cutting out the sword, which can act as a position marker, definitely increases the difficulty of dark rooms a good deal. So it may be something that is considered, it may be something that's left off until they at least get that sword, or all the way until lamp.
And of course, being filthy rich on both sides here, our runners will also have the option to go to Zora. Zora itself is within the logic right now. You just need those level 1 gloves in order to make your way to the big fish. But with that moon pearl, you can make your, and that bottle, you can make it a little bit more efficient, picking up a total of 4 items along the way.
Now, there's actually one thing that surprisingly often trips people up, is that you can get to Zora with just a glove, because so many people just fake flipper there that a lot of people start to think that that's the actual way to get there.
Sharky having a little bit of fun with that chicken over there, getting in the way of that chest, but he figures it out and moves on. Meanwhile, we get a second bottle in the dam. We'll see what's under the water. That's going to be a welcome safety. So our runners are really getting loaded on the defense here early. Not a lot in the way of offense yet, though.
Yep, they still just got that bow. Nothing else is going to help them deal with enemies. Bow is a very good weapon, but you want something with infinite uses, not limited ammo.
So it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog got a little bit darker picking up that blue mail upgrade. I'm a little nervous he's going to turn into Shadow the Hedgehog if he picks up that red mail. But we have a moist red cane on Indecisive Ninja's side. So an important progression item and also a weapon to be used in the early game. So the progression is going to be much later in the game. You'll see that in a couple of dungeons towards the end. But we will get a mini Moldorm cave check.
Yep, that cane is a useful weapon, but until they find magic, not going to do much for them. Unfortunately, Indecisive Ninja is sitting at no magic. Sharky has managed to build up a little bit.
So Indecisive Ninja, as such, is going to pull out that bow for those Moldorms. Those Moldorms, they only take 1 arrow each to go down, but they are slippery.
Yep, arrows and hammer are both horrible weapons they have to try to use on the mini Moldorms because of how they bounce around so much.
Not an exciting mini Moldorm cave so far, and it's going to end that way. So despite being a very dense location here, nothing doing for Indecisive Ninja. Sharky's going to get the same disappointing news in a moment as he makes his way down south. We're going to head east. Certainly Ice Rod Cave is over here within the logic. There's also a couple of items outside of the logic that we can fake flipper to.
Yep, the choice of whether to go to Ice Rod Cave or not is always a tough one for most runners, because it's so far out of the way that you never want to walk over here. But if you don't walk over here, you find it has progression decently often.
It is available at the very beginning with no requirements, effectively. Just need that bomb, which you can pick up basically anywhere. So it is something available to you right at the beginning. The game may expect you to have it early, and that's why a lot of runners like to take it early. On the other hand, you can get there a lot faster if you have something like the boots or even the flute. And it looks like it's got Quake today. So again, not something that's going to be immediately useful, but definitely something that could come into the later game.
Yep, it's a 33% chance on each Misery Mire and Turtle Rock to require Quake. We don't know if we'll have to go there to either of those yet. We don't know if they'll require it yet, but nice to start getting those medallions out of the way quick.
And with Indecisive Ninja heading back down towards the south of the lake, looks like he's going to set up for a fake flipper here. So a couple of options. He can go up to Hobo and check out that. Also take a peek at what's on Lake Hylia Island. There's nothing he can grab on that island. He cannot grab that island item quite yet, but definitely, again, valuable information, which is something that our runners are going to be concerned about, especially later in the run. And Sharky expertly takes down those mini mold arms with the bow. Still has a healthy number of arrows.
Yeah, he has managed to keep himself much higher on the ammo count than Ninja has. It's a little bit easier to get by when you're sitting at 23 arrows than 5 for your main weapon.
So he's going to talk to this Hobo. We'll see if he tries to fake flipper back. It's a little bit tricky. You have to kind of jump down on the right pixel. He's got to be worth it, though. He thanks the Hobo with slashes of joy here for that level 1 sword.
That is a lovely thing to sequence break, too. Getting a sword early solves all their weaponry issues, pretty much.
Also help with those darkroom navigation attempts should our runners attempt it. And so hopefully Sharky will make the same gamble to sequence break over to the Hobo. Just 20 rupees on Lake Hylia Island. We will not be coming back here. And Indecisive Ninja gonna go back up to the Zora area, see what the big fish has for us today. So he's gonna activate a glitch here. You can see him swimming in that shallow water. He's gonna be swimming in the ground shortly. Perfectly normal, everything's fine. Just gonna walk outside. Gabe's gonna check for the existence of the Moon Pearl for some reason, as Sharky picks up his Quake medallion, and that lets you walk because you have the Moon Pearl. Just some arrow capacity upgrades. They don't come with arrows though, so not of much use to Ninja at this point. So as far as this Lake Hylia, not Lake Hylia, where are we? We're in Zora's Domain. Zora's Domain just got 20 rupees. He does have the ability to get to that, depending on the circumstances and his comfort, his comfort level with certain glitches. He could pick up a fairy in a bottle and effectively take a death at the same time as jumping down that waterfall ledge, but not necessary today. We're just going to go pay 500 rupees for hopefully something useful. And we got the blue cane, so nothing immediately required. Nothing immediately progressive, but definitely a good safety item to have later in the game, and could possibly be required for something like Spike Cave, as Sharky gets his fake flipper.
Yep, good safety, and Cane of Burner alone is enough to get you through Spike Cave once you have hammers, so that is an interesting find early, especially if you can get that hammer before going up Death Mountain.
Sharky's going to do the dance around the whirlpool, go up to that Zora area. Unfortunately, he's chosen not to go to Hobo. Hobo is a little bit of a far swim, and it's tough to get back. He's really going to want to avoid this fireball here. Oh, and he takes a death. That is brutal for Sharky. So, unfortunately, when you're in that glitched state, the game kind of freaks out. It doesn't know what to do when you get hit. It tries to return you to the point where you were last standing on dry land, but when you're fake flippering, unfortunately, that is off the screen. And so the game just like really loses its mind. The random developers are kind enough to make it so that instead of being a hard lock and making you start your progress all the way over, instead it just does an instant death. So we got Indecisive Ninja going and picking up the flute and the fire rod and the ice rod all at once.
Wow.
He's dancing for joy in the back of Trahasala's hut. All the goodies today. And he's heading out fully loaded now.
That was a lovely hut. I also want to give a little bit shout-outs on the map check. We did have a red pendant in Tower of Hera and regular crystals in Eastern and Desert. But that was a wonderful, wonderful back of Sasrala's house there.
So if boots are not required for Desert, we would have the ability to full clear that as well. Just a fire source and a glove is all that is needed. And Indecisive Ninja has just that in his inventory. Sharky's going to make another attempt. He's not giving up. He knows that there are 4 items in his reach at the Zora Domain.
So now I gotta say, as a, rando player who's been around the block a few times, With that early fire on an ice rod, I'm gonna bet on Pendant Turtle Rock that you don't have to kill Trinex for.
Not only that, but we also have the red cane, so we're getting really close to being able to do an early Turtle Rock. And we got a hook shot inside of Eastern Palace, that first chest.
Yeah,
now we're really starting to open things up.
Yeah, if you can do the Old Man Dark Room, you got all of East Death Mountain open to you now, which is a lot of items.
And Sharky, throwing a bottle into that Waterfall of Wishing. The fairy in there is kind enough to return that bottle with something inside of it. Today it was a bee. Not sure if it was a golden bee or a regular bee. Either way, that is very useless. All right, it's got a couple of things that's good about it, but by and large, our runners would rather see something like a fairy or even a potion of any color would be nice. So Sharky, disabling that walk-on water glitch, going to take a little bit more time, but a little bit more safety in terms of getting to the big fish.
Ninja going through Eastern Palace, going for this quick strat on the Stalfos room. Gets it. As long as you don't walk too far to the side, those Stalfos will spawn in the pot and in the wall, and you'll only have to deal with 2 of them.
So just one more chest within the logic here for Indecisive Ninja here in Eastern Palace, unless this chest happens to be the lamp. We'll see if he decides to continue on or not. Just the map, and
well,
he's going for it.
He is going for it. Maybe, you know, it's got most of the letters that lamp has, so it's pretty much the same thing, right?
I can't see how you're wrong. We get the map check again on Sharky's side, getting that information, whether or not to try that Eastern Palace area or not. He's going to spend a little bit of time writing that down on his tracker. It's a lot to keep track of here. You have to execute, you have to plan your route, and you have to memorize everything that's going on in the game.
Yeah, but
it's like we also had those flippers picked up at Eastern Palace by Indecisive Ninja. I completely missed that. So we got a lot of goodies here early.
And that goes ahead and puts that sword they got in the logic, so that is now a thing to consider.
And Indecisive Ninja using those sword beams, the sword sparkles, they're pretty sparkly, to navigate that room, does so, and is on to the vanilla big key room. Takes a slash at that first enemy. Gonna have to take a little bit more damage now to get that button pressed down. Comes up with a magic cape, though. And he's continuing on.
Meyer. Oh, doesn't seem like it after all. But yeah, we get confirmation that Misery Meyer is the green pendant, so one of the items in the back of Sahasraral's hut may not be required after all.
And we'll see where Indecisive Ninja is headed next. Not too much available to him. Well, actually, he has a lot available to him. He's got that flute, so he's going to go turn that on, head up to Death Mountain. On the east side of Death Mountain, we got 5+2+1 chests available to us. So a very high-dense area, especially this early. Oh, we didn't have flippers. Flippers were a mismark. Everything's fine. I was losing my mind. I thought, I didn't think I missed anything. But, all right, so nobody's got flippers yet. So that sword's still out of logic. But we're going up. We're going up to Death Mountain. We're going to go check that east side of Death Mountain. We might even rescue an old man outside logic, but does unlock that very important old man save location for the save and quits that we'll see our runners do.
Yeah, once you have Flute, the old man is the fastest save and quit location to get a full heal and get outside the Flute. So the earlier you got it unlocked, the better with Flute.
And looks like Ninja's going to go and check out the desert area first. So it's a quick check to see what's on that ledge. Just 300 rupees. Probably going to pass. Although it would set him up for the rest of the game. He doesn't have quite enough money. You want to have money. You need 110 in order to pay Kiki the monkey to get in a pod. You need some money for dig game, for the chest game, and for the big bomb. And just in general for safeties. For filling up those bottles with potions in the later stages of this game.
Yeah,
so while not strictly required, it will be an option for him to pick up.
Very much so. Desert play is kind of a risk because it could be boots locked and those boots could be sitting on Death Mountain, but it's not a bad play to make, jumping into the dungeon, seeing what you can do here.
And he grabs the big key, so he is going to be able to finish this, but without the boots here, he's going to be sorely disappointed that there's no hammer. So we get the second piece to our puzzle as far as getting into that dark world. We'll see how late those boots will be, but those boots will definitely be required here.
Yep, and part of you hates seeing that. Part of you is like, hey, that means I'm getting the boots in this run. That's a nice thing. That does leave the rest of the dungeon open, however, so whatever, if Lamulus has an item, it could be required to get that hammer to begin with, since you do have access to both small keys beforehand.
So I have to imagine we are going to pick up our second crystal here. No, it's our first crystal. He did not choose to finish Eastern Palace. That's right. That Eastern Palace dark room in the back is quite tricky. So he picks up a shield here. Nothing else here. This is just going to be the map or compass. Indecisive Ninja knows it looking at his tracker. Just the hammer and the small shield for him today. As Sharky makes his way through this dark room, gets the small key, and is headed around now, wants to dodge those anti-fairies, uses the iframes from those hookshot to avoid taking any damage, and gets on through it with full hearts. That's very impressive, especially with no sword.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to do with no sword, to get through there without taking a hit, because you can't really defend yourself nearly as well from the popos. So it'll be interesting to see if Ninja goes ahead and clears out Lamulus now, or if he decides to come back for that later.
And he's going to take advantage of a rarely seen fairy room. So it's important. You won't see every room, every single run during a randomizer race. But if you take a little bit of time and explore around, you can learn what's in those pots, learn what's in, you know, those extra rooms that you don't quite see, get those safeties so you can be much more confident going through, like, okay, I know I need a little bit more money. I can do some of the money rooms hidden in these dungeons. I need a little bit more health. I can go pick up a fairy drop like Indecisive Ninja just did right there on his way to the boss. And we see Sharky completing the dark room, the second dark room in Eastern Palace. So he's going to go ahead and attempt to finish this dungeon. Just has one heart left. Getting a little nervous here. Gonna be a little bit careful. Picks up a heart under a pot. Wants to dance with those anti-fairies.
Don't blame him at all for being safe there, and he did know the trick to the Eastern Palace darkroom of if you just turn right and fire your fire rod, you hit a torch and the whole room lights up. So with fire rod, it's really not a darkroom that's difficult, because it's kind of free to get it lit up. Much like knowing the safeties like you were talking about, knowing those little quirks of where things like torches are can make a lot of the darkrooms in this game a lot more manageable.
Another trick that Sharky may be interested in, if he were to leave the room and come back, the pots would respawn, but the enemies would not. And looks like we have a stun prize of 20 rupees, so that should be useful for our runners to know later on, should they be starved for money. And Sharky tries to pull out quick. No can do without that sword, though. Thankfully, the hookshot will take care of those popos for him, as Indecisive Ninja starts his Landmolus fight.
I'm a little bit disappointed he didn't use the B-strat to take care of the popos, but the hookshot works a lot better. It's just less fun to watch. And Ninja going the NMG style for Lamulus here, using that bow to try to get some extra damage in there instead of using the fire rod for the one shot he would have available.
Well, a lot of our runners did start in Randomizer. Learning the base speedrun, the vanilla game speedrun, certainly gives you a different perspective on how to use your resources, how you can use these different weapons in different situations. It can definitely give our runners an edge. So, looks like Sharky's going to head into his Armos Knights fight. Has plenty of arrows with which to work. It's going to be 3 hits per knight, I guess you call them. with the last one also taking 3, but that one's health resets as soon as you get down to the last one with his health turning red. 13 more arrows. He's running a little low here. We're going to switch to bomb strats, meanwhile, on the other side. So, 2 more shots.
Take them out pretty quick.
All right, everything's fine. So we got both of our runners picking up their first crystals, and different ones at that.
That was a pretty nice sync boss fight we had going on there for being on completely different dungeons.
So options abound for our runners. Indecisive Ninja has the ability to check this Agina's cave pretty quickly here. And looks like he's going to take that opportunity. This is one of those tougher locations to route in, and Sharky's going to head right to Kakariko Village, wants to turn on that flute. Let that goose loose.
Yeah, but I'd be surprised to see Indecisive Ninja not head up to Death Mountain after this Agina cave check. Now that Desert is cleared and he knows he's looking for boots to get that Dark World access, that's the most likely place to find them.
Just a little bit of love. We're gonna save and quit here. We don't want to spend time walking out of that cave just to turn on the flute. Much faster to go back to the house and fly away from there.
Seeds that give you the early flute are the best seeds, since you save a ton of time just walking back and forth across the overworld.
So heading up to Old Death Mountain. We're not gonna spend time rescuing the old man. We're going right to that right side.
Yep, so they got an item in Spectacle Rock they can get, as well as 8 items over on East Death Mountain they can get. They can see the items on top of Spectacle Rock and on the floating island, so all in all they're going to see about 10 items worth of things up here.
Sharky, being the more indecisive one, gonna also head to Desert, so he'll get that information about the hammer on the torch as well. Won't be able to grab it, just like Indecisive Ninja wasn't able to, but still, that information will be quite valuable, and he'll have an opportunity for his second crystal.
Yep, and Spectacle Rock we just see a big 20, so nowhere near worth the time commitment to get over there.
So we have a lot of items here. The items that we find here on Eastern Death Mountain will determine both of our runners' routing. Sharky's not going to have very many places left to go after this. I don't think really any places left to go, in fact, as he pushes that little sandworm thing out of the way. I didn't know you could do that with the hook shot. I guess they didn't think of everything, these Link to the Past developers.
Yeah, you could say that. Stunning those little sandworms does not usually end up super well.
And some cash and a piece of heart in the first part of Paradox Cave here. Ooh, it stays there too. That's funny.
Now that part I hadn't seen, where you walk back out of the room and it's still chilling right there.
So more mini Moldorms to deal with here, and we're gonna fire rod that switch. Blue Boomerang, full heart container. We're loaded on defense for the seed. More money, and we got the lamp. And the mirror. Okay, so the mirror opens up all kinds of possibilities for us. Now we have the ability to go into Tower of Hera and beat it? Yeah, we could beat Tower of Hera. So it is a blue pendant. It is not that important yet, but it's certainly an option. We'll hold 2 items that are not tied to the dungeon. So we'll see if Indecisive Ninja takes that gamble or if he decides to spend his time looking elsewhere. At this point, we also have logical access to Agina. Agina. See, listen. At some point, we called Agina Agana. And then there was Agana and Aganim. And, like, I don't know. I don't know when the community decided to switch the pronunciation. But it was switched, and so I get them all mixed up now as a result. So we have Aganim available to us. That cape gets you right through that barrier, and that lamp is going to get you through those dark rooms. So the logic says you can go to Palace of Darkness right now if you want. But that is quite the climb.
Yeah, if the seed wants to be mean, it could put the boots really late to get that hammer off the desert. You know, show it to you nice and early and then make you run around everywhere to find the way to get to it.
I mean, they do have access to a large part of the Dark World now, logically, because you can use that hookshot across the little river there and get in all the way to Village of Outcasts. Yeah, I mean, you could see this on, like, they have the ability to full clear Skull Woods right now. They have the ability to beat Thieves Town, if not full clear it right now. So a lot of options given by that lamp.
Yeah, but we'll see where Ninja is going to head here. I'd guess up to Hera.
Well, first things first, we're going to go get that old man. It's in the logic now that we got that lamp. And then Sharky picks up his piece of heart from, I forgot his name already, Agina.
Oh, and Chad raises a good point. Aga's not actually in logic yet, as we don't actually have the flippers we need to get that sword.
Ah, good point by chat. We do not have that sword. That sword is required for slashing away the curtain, not just reflecting those balls of energy back at Aghanim, but also for slashing away that curtain. Can't do it without a sword. So until we find that sword, Aghanim is not in the logic. That's a good point. You don't even need the Master Sword to hit the balls back. You can do it with the level 1 sword.
Hey, some silver arrows from the old man. That's a nice thing to get when you already have the bow.
Absolutely should make those Armos Knights pretty easy, as IndecisiveNinja has decided to go there.
Yeah, piecing out of the Death Mountain area, not going to go dip into the Pendant Dungeon when he's got a crystal that he can finish clearing right now.
So unfortunately, he's going to be disappointed by what he finds at the Armos Knights, but he won't be disappointed by having 2 crystals in his inventory, as Sharky's going to use that hookshot to navigate his way around this dark room here. Looks like he's going to rescue the old man.
Yeah, it's one of the easier dark rooms in general, but when you don't have a sword to track your position, it gets exponentially harder. There are a lot of little pitfalls, a lot of little side rooms that don't lead anywhere.
And we point out the sword as the best way to kind of navigate these dark rooms, short of the lamp, obviously, because the sword has these sparkles. And with those sparkles, as we see IndecisiveNinja attempt to use bow strats here on these Stalfos, the sword sparkles will like kind of follow behind the sword, so you can see not only your current position, but you can see the motion, so you can see how you might slide against a wall. Whereas using the hook shot to guide your path, like the hook shot is nice, it'll tell you how far you are from a given obstacle, and the sounds can be useful too, but you can't move while you have it out, and you can't really tell like what the shape is of the things around you. So a little bit more tricky with that hook shot than with the sword, but with practice you can do it even without any navigation aids at all, just using the sounds from your game.
I'm trying to sort out which part of this exactly Sharky's at. I think he might be in the stretch down to the exit door.
Well, yeah, no, he got there. So he was able to get the old man using that hook shot. Very impressive from Sharky's side. Shows a lot of practice, and is rewarded with those silver arrows. As IndecisiveNinja gonna have a little bit more ease here with these Armos Knights. Each of these Armos Knights just takes 1 silver. Turns out you're not supposed to have the most powerful weapon in the game against the first boss you encounter. But the developers did certainly support it, and we get those 20 rubies and that second all-important crystal for IndecisiveNinja.
Yep, unlike Mothula, who becomes, you know, immune to the most powerful sword in the game in vanilla, you know, our most powerful arrows, they're still cool with it. They'll still take it.
So decision time for our indecisive friend on the left here. Not quite sure what to do yet. Gonna go back up the mountain. We're gonna do that Tower of Hera check.
Yep, he's gonna end up going through these dungeons nearly in vanilla order. Just kind of flop the first 2 around.
And Sharky just moments away from picking up his mirror.
Ninja will also be able to check the Ether Tablet. He can't actually get the item unless he gets another sword upgrade, but he can at least see what's there.
So if you're Ninja right now, are you going to complete this dungeon? Are you going to fight Moldorm? Are you going to spend any time in the basement if that's required? Or are you just going to go somewhere else?
With how thin options are getting, I would definitely make sure I got both items, especially I need if the basement was required. Moldorm, kind of hit or miss. I would probably do it just to avoid having to come back if there was a pedestal seed. But at the same time, you can gamble it away and usually not get hurt by it.
Well, Ninja will certainly have that decision to make as Sharky collects his hoard of treasure in Paradox Cave. Nothing doing in the basement of Tower of Hera. We're going to go up and find out if that's a... what size of key we have today. It is a small key, so we are headed to the basement. That basement, we're going to get a little bit of a cutscene, combination cutscene, and just like... It's a tile room. So these tiles come flying at you. It takes just a bunch of time. Nothing really complicated about it, but we like going fast here on the Speed Gaming Network. And this is not fast. This is far from fast. This is the auto-scroller of Link to the Past here.
If going for the coffee break strat, so to speak, of standing on these pegs when they rise up, didn't quite get it with the fire rod.
Gonna go for the bomb here. This is another popular one among runners, and what he's doing is if he's standing on those blocks when they come up, it's not going to kill Link or do any damage or anything, but it will force him off of there. But before that, it's going to give him invulnerability frames, so he's just able to hang out, stand on that block until it is done.
I have one thing I'll point out so that if he watches this back. When you have the Canis of Mario, the easiest way to do that is just drop a cane block right next to that switch and then walk your way over, stand on the peg, and then explode it. A little bit thrown off by the pod staying there due to being picked up on the same frame those torches got lit. This game does not handle things happening on the same frame well at all.
Well, he's mirrored and fixed everything, so just gotta kill a few of these bumper buddies here in order to advance. And Sharky, not wasting any time, he's not gonna kill Lanmo because he knows Lanmo doesn't have an item. He's instead more interested in Moldorm. And he's gonna do something that IndecisiveNinja did not, which is check the Ether Tablet. So not able to get this item, you need the level 2 sword or higher, but you can see that it is couch cash, so you know you won't have to come back.
Yeah, but hope for Ninja's sake that he checks that on the way out of Hera, because you would hate to make the trip all the way up here after you get another sword, just to find out, oh, it's just a little bit of money.
So it looks like Moldorm is going to have an item on him today, but there's also a Master Sword in that chest. And I say that, and I'm not terribly excited about it, because that is pointing us towards Aghanim.
Yep, that officially puts his sword in Logic, so Aghanim is now actually in Logic, not just really available. Sharky is going to be very happy to see that sword, though.
Is he? If he knows what it means? If he realizes he's going to have to take that big climb? You don't want boots?
I mean, when you're 43 minutes into a seed and you don't have a sword yet, you're always happy to see a sword.
A fair point. So, Ninja going to take a little bit of refill on hearts here before heading in to see the Moldorm. He's got some googly eyes, and that's why he's our favorite boss. Not really going to kill you with damage here. This is one of my favorite bosses because of this. He's going to kill you with time. So what Moldorm's going to do is he's going to try to knock you off the edge of that arena. Doesn't need to kill you in order to waste your time here. And Sharky sets up his coffee break with bombs perfectly. Going to get the full, almost the full 45 seconds. I think it's 40, it might be 30 seconds. It might be 10 seconds. It just seems like it takes an hour. So Moldorm goes out. 1-0 Indecisive Ninja in the Moldorm battle. Moldorm will have a chance at revenge later. And we just get a piece of heart and a red pendant. So nothing great from Moldorm there.
Yep, and
so it looks like we just got Aghanim left.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they've cleared out everything available. So with that sword now in Logic, Aghanim does appear to be the play. The seed lets you run all over Light World, get a ton of stuff. See that hammer on the torch, just waiting for the boots, and then, oh, by the way, welcome to Dark World. You gotta go do Aghanim to find those boots.
And Indecisive Ninja, since he does have that level 2 sword, is able to pick up this big 20 from the Ether Tablet. Maybe when the ancestors put that there, it was worth a little bit more. But now that those 20 rupees are not very exciting.
Inflation is a killer, even in Hyrule.
So Sharky having a little bit of trouble. He does not have a sword yet. Arrows don't quite work. But thankfully, these pots will reset every single time you fall down. So you can kill them with the pots, and if you miss one or there's some left, you do have those pots as an option to respawn over and over and over.
Yep, and the other option
gets it done.
He does very nicely. The other option would have been to hookshot them into the pits. One that stuns it, knocks it back, and can just knock them down for you.
So IndecisiveNinja does have the Master Sword here, so he is going to be able to take these guys out in a couple of slashes. He chooses to use those sword beams. These guys are pretty resistant to those. They also die to 1 fire rod shot or 1 silver arrow apiece. So it's important to be aware of what's in your inventory at any given time. You may find yourself with a faster way of doing things that you haven't experienced before.
Absolutely, and he's going to have a little bit easier time with this climb than Sharky, unless Sharky chooses to fake flipper to hobo, which would be a very slow path to take at the moment.
I've seen runners do absolutely ridiculous things in order to try to avoid the Aghanim play. But today, there's not going to have any such luck. In sequence, out of sequence, doesn't matter. We're climbing that tower. So Sharky's got his sword. He's going to go up to see Moldorm all the same. Hoping, beyond hope, that Moldorm has something that'll let him avoid that tower climb.
Yep, the tower isn't the most difficult thing by any stretch, comparatively to some of the late game dungeons, but it's just so slow.
So not a lot of divergence here even possible for our runners. They won't really get that until they get to the Darkhold, until they finish that Aghanim. And Sharky with that level 1 sword going to have a little bit more work to do here against Moldorm.
Yep, and he's using spin strats. Doesn't do any extra damage with the fighter sword, but does at least make it a little bit easier to hit it sometimes.
Holding your sword out also going to help with, ooh, and then just as I say that, he falls down the middle hole. That middle hole is the absolute worst, as that is the one where you fall down 2 levels, not just 1. So holding your sword out, if you're knocked backwards and you have your sword facing Moldorm, you'll actually be able to hang on to the edge there without getting knocked over. But not able to do that the way he was knocked down today. So Moldorm scars, I think that counts as 2 points for Moldorm. So Moldorm's actually up 2-0 against Sharky. Sharky will be able to tie it up later on if he's able to kill him here and later on again in his tower.
Yeah, one of the big advantages of getting that extra sword for Ninja was that with Master Sword, you can bypass this whole super speed phase. 3 spins just takes you straight to the hole, into victory. You never deal with Moldorm speeding up and needing to get a hit while he's going fast.
So our efforts of rescuing Zelda early in the game completely wasted. Aghanim sends her to, who knows, Turtle Rock in the vanilla game. We'll see where she's hiding out today. But either way, we're going to go fight Aghanim for this. Number of blue balls that Aghanim shoots is going to be the same on both runners' side. They want to normalize that logic, make sure that our runners have a fair shot here. And Moldorm scores another point against Sharky. Taking the spill. Only 1 fall this time, as IndecisiveNinja is unhappy to see that blue ball.
Moldorm is not the easiest boss, mostly due to the fact that if you make one mistake, it can cost you starting the fight all over again. Most bosses you have some room for error. Trolldorm you really don't.
So now if you're IndecisiveNinja while Aghanim is slinging these balls of various colors at you and you're thinking where to go, where do you think he heads next?
There's a lot open. I'd say probably pod is a straightforward play because it's right there when you get off the pyramid. But there are a lot of options that are all pretty solid plays that you can make here.
Well, yeah, I mean, so there are a lot of options, but like we have to enumerate some of them for our viewers here. That's our job, man. We can't just say, "Oh man, he's got a lot to do." That doesn't help.
That's very true. So yeah, I would go with the pod play. The other option is to go hookshot across the river here, go over to Skull Woods, Thieves Town, go to both of which you can clear out. Swamp you can't do anything in, Ice you can't get to, Mire and T-Rock you can't get to, so pretty much you're looking at a lot of overworld and those 2 dungeons, or going up here to Catfish, or going to pod for the 5 items within there.
So he's going to stop in with the witch first, check in on some potions. Might as well get those safeties while he's walking by. Sharky takes down Moldnorm. It looks like somebody in chat wants a pet mini Moldnorm. That's disgusting.
I could not imagine how hard that would be to take care of with it wiggling around the entire area. It just shot around the house like none other. Where to go?
Yeah, and like those things can really grow big. I mean, like you saw the big one. Like they don't just stay small. They all grow that size. So Sharky, before heading to Aghanim, gonna check out the rest of Desert Palace here. There is nothing that sits on Landmo. There could not be anything on Landmo. And Indecisive Ninja is gonna offer that skull to the catfish. Just a piece of heart. He thought about leaving it there, but then changed his mind. Classic Indecisive Ninja move. So I don't believe we've had a Dark World map check yet. I mean, to me, that would inform a lot of my decisions. If, you know, for example, Skull Woods was a crystal versus a pendant, would determine whether I go there first. Same thing with Thieves Town. He does have the ability to clear out both of those. And here is that map check. So crystals all around. We got our 2 pendants in Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Don't have to worry about either of those today unless they are holding something at the end.
So that backup Sazrala's hut that was so great. Fire Rod, Ice Rod, Flute. Flute and Ice Rod are only required for 2 dungeons that turn out to be pendants.
Hey, we still might have to dip him. We're still early in this seed, not even an hour in. So Indecisive Ninja is going to, he's got a choice, south or west, and he's going with west. So doesn't have the hammer, can't clear out pod quite to get that crystal.
There's one thing that I don't think we did mention. We did have Swamp and Skull Woods. There are 5-6 crystals for Pyramid Fairy. So still got a ways to go before we have access to that. We would still need flippers, we would still need the hammer.
And despite not having the level 2 gloves or the boots, still able to navigate his way around here to Spooky Ledge. This is a great check. This is just a great check in terms of efficiency because you have to walk by this area anyway. So you might as well take it a couple extra seconds out of your way and just cross this off your list. And I imagine if he's making this play, he'll do the same for Bumper Cave here in a moment.
Yeah, when you have to go across the river like that, it makes North Dark World from a very hard to route in location set to a very easy one.
And he picks up the powder, a very important safety item for later in the game. Runners, even in No Major Glitches runs, will elect to pick up the powder. That's the level of power we're talking about. Power, powderful, whatever. So it also serves as a fetch quest item. Doesn't quite have access to it yet. He's going to need the level 2 gloves or the hammer, which is locked behind the boots, in order to turn that into the Bat Cave. But for now, he'll be happy with it sitting in his inventory.
Sharky over there having a little bit easier time with Land Molus because he can do Silver Arrow strats. So the routes these two took both kind of paid off in a different boss fight for him.
But with that second crystal, we have a tie here now at 2 crystals to 2 crystals and 1 pendant apiece, which may or may not be relevant. And Sharky's got nowhere to go but up that tower. So Ninja heading south and then north. Classic Indecisive Ninja move. Gonna go into Skull Woods. Does have the ability within logic to full clear this.
Yep, and with Master Sword and Blue Mail and the 9 hearts they got, it's not too bad to get through, but Mothula can eat your health up real quick, so it's always a tough thing to go through.
Thankfully, he chose to stop and get those potions, so a little bit of foresight here. Definitely going to pay off. Also, that powder can be used in 1, 2, 3 rooms before the Mothman to get a little bit of extra health. Sharky heading back up Death Mountain. Not sure if he missed something here. Might be checking Spiral Cave, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he missed Spiral Cave or if maybe he's just trying to make sure he didn't forget anything up here. Hey, there are those flippers.
So Ninja grabbing those flippers, unsequence breaking himself. He now has logical access to that Master Sword. So he is all set.
Okay, yeah, Sharky going through Spiral Cave here. He must have skipped this on the first time up Death Mountain.
And with those flippers, he now has logical access to Swamp Palace. So another crystal dungeon that he is able to complete. So he's got a lot of work to do in dungeons, crystal dungeons specifically, before needing to think about overworld or some of those pendant dungeons.
And we currently just need really mitts and the boots to be able to complete this game here. And we know that neither of those can be in T-Rock, so that is pretty much off the table.
He doesn't have access to Swamp. Excuse me, you need the hammer to get any further in Swamp. Man,
True.
I should play this game at some point. I mean, I was testing everyone. All right, Chad pointing it out. Yeah, he does. He can go in. He can open up those first 2 chests. One of them's gonna have a small key, but either way, he's gonna take on the Mothman here. And Sharky finally coming to the sad realization that he's got a tower to climb.
So he is, as Indecisive Ninja starts making his way to the boss we all hate because he was programmed where if he gets hit into spikes, he just decides, nah, I'm not taking damage from that sword stone you just hit me with.
So a full heart will be our second item here, and it's the Sanctuary Heart at that, so we're going to get a full refill. Question in chat about, is the randomization the same for both of our runners? And I can confirm it is. That's how you know it's a fair race. You don't want one runner being able to get through a lot faster just due to lucky item placements. So we make sure both runners do have the same seed, the same game. And the winner will be determined with a little bit of luck, a little bit of execution, and a lot of skill in routing decisions. Expertly navigating that Gibdo room as Sharky begins his ascent up to see Aghanim.
Yep, Wallmaster almost got Ninja there, but he eats away from it.
And pretty good on his resources here for the Mothula fight. Falls in with 9.5 hearts as well as nearly full magic. Can't ask for much more than that.
He's looking at 8 Tempered Sword, 8 Master Sword slashes, 8 Fire Rod shots, some combination of those two to get Mothula down.
And those spin attacks, really hard to pull off with those moving spikes and moving floor, but those will do double damage.
As I mentioned, if Mothula gets knocked into the spikes, because of the way his damage is programmed so he doesn't take damage from spikes, he'll actually negate the sword damage or the fire rod damage. So sometimes you have to hit Mothula about 20 times to get those 8 hits to actually count.
Well, today we've hit Mothula enough on the left side of your internet. He gives up the map, but more importantly, that crystal.
Yep, so 3 crystals down. I'm imagining Ninja will probably head southward, go check out the Village of Outcasts, maybe even clear out Thieves Town while he's in the area.
I'm thinking we're gonna get a pedestal check here. I mean, we got the mirror, we got the book. Might as well see what's on the old ped. Now,
if you are... Oh, that portal placement.
That is tragic.
Say,
Unfortunately, he's going to have to go all the way back to the castle in order to get back into the Dark World here. But he is going to see what's on the pedestal.
It's kind of double tragic. The pedestal can't actually have anything required at this point. The only items that are missing are required for one of Meyer or T-Rock or both.
And he's indeed just sees a quiver upgrade on the pedestal, so nothing doing there. So he is going to go up and get back into the Dark World as fast as he can.
Yep, so now the question is, does he go back around the loop here, or does he head over to that pod play? I would guess going back around all the way over to Village of Outcasts is a little bit slow. Maybe you take the dip into pod just to get some chests quicker.
I think that's a very reasonable play. Had I done that, I certainly would find myself looking at Palace of Darkness. Sharky going to kill a couple of enemies in his way here in Aghanim's Tower. Getting to the end, though. Healthy 3.5 hearts. Not a lot of more damage coming his way here outside of Aghanim's blue balls himself. And IndecisiveNinja going to go with that pod play. Goes with the higher density. Knows he can't complete this. Knows he's not going to be able to complete this. But there are 5 items available in here. He'll be able to pick up at least 4 of them, all within logic.
Yeah, and with that early bow from Uncle, the early lamp, pod is all open, and usually if pod is fully open early, it ends up paying out somehow. They're tight enough on items that they require to beat the seed at this point. It could just have nothing, but it's definitely usually a safe bet.
So we'll see. Despite all the vanilla game tells you about needing the Master Sword to swing these energy balls back at them, you'll find that the Fighter Sword works just fine.
In fact, you can even reflect those energy balls with a bug net if you have it and you so choose.
Ah, yes, the bug net of legend.
Sick Kid is actually the secret hero of the bugs.
So we get that non-bow-locked pod. Unfortunately, we already had... Well, fortunately, we already had the bow. Bow was the very first weapon we had in this game.
He's going to come up here, check this bridge chest, and then probably head over to either Vanilla Big Key or the drop chest, depending on if this is a small key.
Pod is certainly an interesting dungeon to route, especially given all different gear combinations. So if you pick up a second key there, you usually head over to the Vanilla Big Key chest, but no such play here, so he's going to grab this. Now, whether he heads back to the start after this or goes back to the back of pod, an interesting call.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of options. The one thing that you know is you're going to get a lot of keys early. The front of pod has to have at least 4 small keys in it. It can have all 6. I have seen all 6 keys in the front of the pod before.
Putting that powder to good use as he heads into the bow-locked area here.
Yep, and he's now got a nice little fire shield that is going to help a little bit against blind if he gets into a little bit of trouble with the fight. It'll deflect those fireballs.
Shields usually have marginal use. A lot of runners will skip them if they see them lying around in in the open world. But the fire shield against blind early in the game, certainly a welcome safety.
Yeah, really, the second shield is the only one that has a definitive value all the time. Mirror shield can help with laser bridge if you don't get invincibility items, but fire shield will usually pay off for you somewhere in the run.
And still a whole lot of nothing besides that fire shield here in Palace of Darkness so far. We do have a lot more chests to check, though. A little bit of trouble getting that bomb down there on that bridge. That bridge has collapsed, though, and we're going to go down and get another chest.
Yep, and I believe this is open to being an item. They have gotten their 4 keys up front so far.
Unfortunately, it's just a compass, so it could have been an item, but instead it was disappointing.
After all the time in the Key Sanity tournament, watching all those matches, just the compass is the most disappointing thing to find in the dungeon for me.
So the big item we're looking for right now is still going to be the boots, because that boots is going to lead to the hammer, and that hammer is going to kind of open up a lot more stuff throughout the world and dungeon-wise. In addition to that, it's just the Titan's mitts that we're really looking for at this point. So Titan's mitts and boots. And it's go mode, isn't it? Wow, that really is. So we are 2 items away from go mode here.
Yep, and from the runner's perspective, you want to find those boots first, not just because they're boots, but because they completely take Meyer and T-Rock being important off the table. If we get mitts, Meyer could have the hammer inside it.
So into that dark basement, we pick up a mushroom. That's a fetch quest item. Not really going to have an opportunity to use that fake powder glitch with the real powder sitting right in the inventory. Question chat about where the hammer is. We saw, both of our runners saw the hammer sitting on the desert torch. So they have that information. They know it's going to be required. They know how important that hammer is. They know they're going to get the boots at some point. It's just a matter of finding it first.
We're heading to the dark maze for the last 3 chests here. They will all be items. We have gotten the map and compass already. Just a matter of will any of them be useful items.
And this is tough because this might be somewhere where they're going to force a double dip of Palace of Darkness or not. I mean, if this is the boots in here, then this ends up being a fantastic play. If there's no boots and there's just a whole pile of nonsense in here, well, we have the boots. So it doesn't matter. We're going fast. We get the hammer. We are now 1 item away from go mode. We take a couple slashes of joy on the way. This is fantastic.
Absolutely is, and like I mentioned, that means Meyer and T-Rock are both 100% not required to ever enter in this seed, which is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, and it's got to feel good not being able to even consider 2 of the pendant dungeons in play. And not only that, but as a bonus, he's going to be able to completely go mode Ice Palace.
Yep, and he might go ahead and make the Swamp Palace play next. I would say that or Thieves Town, or Thieves Town would likely be the next play, then Swamp. But hopefully you find the mitts in Thieves Town and their vanilla dungeon, and you get go mode Swamp as well.
Certainly be a welcome, huge time save. So the logic is requiring a double dip of Palace of Darkness. So that mistake earlier where Indecisive Ninja ended up trying to check the pedestal when it couldn't have had anything even, and ended up getting unable to get back to his Dark World portal, and as a result he ended up routing his way all the way to Palace of Darkness. Really pays off for him.
Yeah, it's one of the things about Randomizer. Sometimes you make a mistake and it ends up being the best thing that could have happened to you.
I mean, it's not just a mistake. It's making the best of a bad situation. It's, you know, not beating yourself up, staying in control, saying, okay, this happened, that stinks, but I got to move on. I got to keep going. I still have a shot here. And he did, and as a result, he got rewarded for it. And Sharky also making a Palace of Darkness play now with his Dark World access, not going to be too far behind. So both of our runners right neck and neck still. We still have quite a race for everybody.
Yeah, very much so. And Ninja has gone to get his hammer. Gonna go check the Bonk Rocks as well while in the area. And then probably head over to that Kakariko portal to go check Thieves Town and the bunch of overworld stuff available right now.
So if you are in either of these runners' position, really, if you're in Indecisive Ninja's position specifically, and we'll talk more about Sharky once they get the boots, are you feeling ahead or behind at this point?
Depends on how well you know your opponent, I guess I would say. If you think they would make that pod play immediately after Aghanim, you probably feel a little bit behind from going there later, going to do Skull Woods first. But if you feel like they would make the same play across to West Dark World, maybe you feel like, you know, hey, I had to quit out. I went to pod when I didn't plan to, so now I get a payout, so that might make you feel a little bit ahead.
And I think that's a good point, because it kind of leads into how different these races can be between, you know, the big Saturday weeklies where there's, you know, 80 people in a race versus these one-on-one commentated tournament scenarios where it actually does pay off to learn a little bit about your opponent. It does pay off to figure out their tendencies and habits. If you do the same things as your opponent it's not going to be a good time for you. You'll probably end up losing on execution. At least that's certainly how I feel. You want to do something different. You want to do take gambles. You're not going to get far in this tournament if you don't get gambles and you don't have them pay off. So learning your opponent and using that to your advantage, definitely an important part of tournament racing here in the randomizer community.
Absolutely, and shout outs to the Witch for putting a fetch quest on a fetch quest. Chat's dream is like 2/3 of the way true so far.
So we have that hammer, which makes that Dark World access a lot easier for our Indecisive Ninja. As Sharky gonna throw his bomb a little bit the wrong way, but makes it work.
I'm very interested in the fact that bomb did not fall into the pit. It just kind of sat there in midair.
It's fine. Everything's fine. That's normal. That's how bombs work in real life. So we're going to go into this chess game here. 3 items total in the Village of Outcasts proper.
Yep, there's going to be this one, the Bomble Hut, the C-shaped house, all available. Now, an interesting thing is Hype Cave will remain unchecked until very late in the seed, so if Hype Cave has the last bit of hype it could hold, then both of these two might end up getting a little bit late. We have to see where Sharky will go after the hammer.
Hype Cave, certainly very high density play for our runners. It is a little bit out of the way for Sharky, who does not yet have his boots and hammer, although he will pick those up very shortly. But it is not as high density as the Thieves Town and surrounding area play. Thieves Town going to have a lot more with those 4 items inside, plus at least 3 outside. Also have things like, well, now we have the Shovel Spot. We have Stumpy. We have South of Grove. We have the Dig Game. All of these item checks are right close together, clustered really close. And you're going to have to do the Thieves Town play anyway. You're going to have to search for that big key. You're going to have to go all the way upstairs and bomb that floor to make sure you can actually fight blind. So this is stuff I really, really like going to Thieves Town next year in full clearing.
Yeah, it's absolutely a good play. The downside, of course, is that if you feel like your opponent might have checked Hype Cave, like I know a lot of the high-end runners, so to speak, will go to Link's house, check Hype Cave, and then go over and make this play. If you feel like your opponent pulled that and you find mitts there, then you start to be terrified.
And that does seem to be the prevailing attitude among the random community anytime you talk to these racers. And we will hopefully have a chance to interview both of them at the end to find out exactly what was going through their minds at different points. It always feels like your opponent is making the perfect routing decisions, is always making the perfect plays. But at the end of the day, until you see that finished message scroll across your screen, you are still in it. Okay. And nothing good yet for Indecisive Ninja here in Thieves Town. Still has 4 more chests to check, I believe.
Yep, and I believe he got 2 items, both of which were big 20s, so somewhere in these 4 chests there'll be 2 more items. Vanilla mitts is an option. We might find the mitts in the big chest.
It's certainly something that Ninja would be thankful for as Sharky makes his way back through Desert Palace to pick up his hammer.
Grabs on the torch, you know, tries to pull it down first so he doesn't have to bonk. It didn't work, so he just bonked into it. Item number 3. Just
item number 3 indeed, and not exactly what he wants to see, but he knows that he's going to have to be here, so can't be too upset by something that you knew you were going to have to walk by anyway.
Yeah, Thieves Town is a nice dungeon to do pre-Go mode in the sense that it doesn't really change much in Go mode. There are a couple minor little time saves you can get if things work out perfectly, but nothing major.
Putting that powder to good use again, go back at the full hearts. Very good idea heading into the second half here of Thieves Town. Meanwhile, Sharky with his hammer going to take the time, knowing that this is a double dip, to finish off Palace of Darkness. Getting a little low on health there. There is a fairy and a tree right to his east if he wants it. And elects to continue on.
Yeah, Sharky's still stuck with that fighter sword, having not gone to Hobo yet, is going to have a lot more trouble killing stuff in the Dark World than Ninja has had.
And that is going to be another go mode, an additional go mode item that Sharky is going to have to find. So both of our runners here looking for those Titansmiths. Sharky also looking for that sword, although both runners would welcome a couple extra swords if they were pressed for it.
Sharky has decided this sword is too weak, I'm going to make use of the silver arrows, while Indecisive Ninja discovers that the small key is locked in the big chest of Thieves Town.
So not quite vanilla today for us, and Sharky's actually going to take an intentional death here. Sitting at only 1 heart, knows he's not going to be able to have as easy of a time sitting at that 1 heart as he would if he was able to reset. Look at Sonic, like the golden rings around him. That's adorable. These sprites, the community has done an absolutely fantastic job with these sprites, really giving the game that extra bit of personality. So we're going to blind fight here on Indecisive Ninja's side. Nothing too complicated, nothing too fancy. He has so many resources, so many ways to kill this nerd. And just 2 more hits here, and the blind lady will be the dead lady.
Rando forces you into that early blind play so often. Coming here with actual equipment to handle it is rare and a pleasant moment. So Sharky making his way through the Mimic Room back here, heading over to Helmosaur. We'll see where Ninja decides to go next. He's mirroring out of the front of Thieves Town.
So opting to skip out on a couple more locations. Gotta go do that Hype Cave play. 5 items there, and opposed to the long walk down to this area, where you would pick up probably just 4 in a much longer amount of time.
Now, I'm curious if his play is going to be to jump into Swamp afterwards and knock that out. There are 6 items in there, so it's not a bad idea.
Question in chat about a little bit of terminology. It looks like chat has already explained it, but I'm going to go ahead and give it an official response. Not pretty official. When we say vanilla, we mean something that happens in the base Link to the Past game. So, for example, if there are 20 rupees in any of these back chests, we would say that those chests are vanilla, as that's what Hype Cave would normally have. So a vanilla Titansmiths would be in the big chest of Thieves Town. We know that that is not possible today. And no Titansmiths for us today in Hype Cave.
Hype Cave was decidedly unhyped this time around.
More like Gripe Cave. So, with a few options available to him, Indecisive Ninja is going to head into Swamp, it looks like. Also has the option to go check the Bombos tablet first. Now, this is a play where if he does his overworld first, if he goes and tries to find those Titansmiths elsewhere, he would have the opportunity to go mode this dungeon. And when we say go mode, we mean clear this out as fast as possible, skipping all of the items because he knows he already has everything with which to beat the game. But instead, he's going to go ahead and search deeper in here. So maybe a little bit of a gamble. He is going to have to come in here one way or another, so there certainly won't be time wasted when he picks up that crystal at the end from Argus. And yeah, Sharky coming in here with the hammer to face off with the Helmosaur King.
I really can't disagree with the Swamp play here. Out of all the locations available, it's slower than go moding, but it is probably the quickest set of 6 items that you're going to find.
And pulling out those silver arrows with a smooch to the dome, he's going to be able to finish off this weird cat thing. And down goes Helmosaur. Oh man, I was hoping those were going to be the Titansmiths. So just 10 arrows for Sharky. He does have that Palace of Darkness crystal. Wouldn't have saved him time either way, so definitely a good play, getting an item that you know you cannot avoid and you cannot do faster than what you have in your inventory currently. So good play on Sharky's side going back to Palace of Darkness.
Yep, it also gives you a little bit of time to think in that kind of situation where, okay, you know I need to do this. I know that it's not gonna change if I hold it off till later. So let me just do this while I think about what I want to do next, where I want to go.
And that is important. There's a lot going on, as we've said before, for these runners to do. They have to execute. They have to play the game well. They have to play the game fast, not just well, but fast. This is a tournament race scenario. They have to figure out their routing. So they have to figure out where are they going to go next, what's available to them. They have to keep track of everything that's in their inventory currently. Even with the aid of trackers, that can be tricky. You know, these runners will have personal trackers. We're fortunate enough to have our own personal tracker here for our benefit. Shout outs to Carito for tracking with us here tonight on Speed Gaming 2. So IndecisiveNinja going to check that left side.
Yes, indeed. And kind of, you can make a case either way, going straight to the back or coming over here first. If the enemy need is on the left side, it's quicker to do it first, but if it's not, it's much, much slower to have done it.
Either way, the decision has been made, and we are checking left side swamp right now.
Sharky is making his move over into the Dark World up here by Village of Outcast. Gonna go see Mothula. Going to again have a little bit harder fight than Ninja did with only that fighter's sword.
I don't know, that hammer can make quite a difference here. Hammer doing level 3 sword damage actually can be a little bit better. Hitting Mothula with the hammer, not too bad, believe it or not. Some runners are intimidated by the smaller hitbox, but practice pays off in this game. Sit down, try to learn the fights, and you'll be on your way to Rando glory in no time.
Oh yeah, the Link to the Past practice ROM that is developed for NMG, but the way it's set up is perfect for Randomizer. You can practice any boss, any kind of situation you want, and you can learn a lot of things that at one point you think are super tough, and by the end you're like, okay, I can do this 100% reliably.
Not only that, but the game, like the glitches that you get to do, and even just some of the strategies you get to do, it makes you feel like you're cheating, and like there's something very inherently good and fun about that, of just feeling like you're cheating and getting around the game. You know, obviously neither of our runners are cheating here today, but it's still it's a ton of fun. You should really try it if you haven't.
Left side swamp just had I believe that was the map and the 3 bombs. So nothing doing over there. Gonna head to the back now and hope to find those mitts back here.
4 item locations remaining in the rest of Swamp Palace. We'll see whether this was required or if we could have done this go mode with our Titans bits living elsewhere. Either way, we'll end up with a go mode Ice Palace, which is nice.
So a little quirk on that statue push there that Indecisive was not able to take advantage of. If you do a hook dash into that pot, when you're moving to the left, you pick up the pot that you push the statue onto on the first try every time. So it makes it a little bit less of a grab-a-thon like Ninja had to do there.
Right you are, but he did manage to get through it and just picks up 50 rupees here in south of the waterfall room.
Yep, Swamp continuing to not pay out so far. When you're down to that last item, it's kind of become the V29 meme that it will make you look everywhere for it.
Red Mail, the final defensive upgrade. New threads for our... what did we decide this was? This was not Anime Link. Manga Link? I think it's Manga Link. For this artfully crafted Manga Link sprite. I think it looks good in this Red Mail. It's kind of like a deep maroon color. That's nice.
I'm just disappointed that it doesn't have the eggplant hat.
So we're going with spin strats here. Each of these buffs is going to take 2 slashes from the Master Sword or a spin attack from the Master Sword. Could also opt to use the hammer here, but sword decidedly faster.
Oh yeah, with menu strats, to go to the hammer, it is pretty much the slowest option to fight Argus if you have any level of sword.
Just 3 puffs remaining.
Yep, and the only thing you really gotta watch out for with Argus is if you're slashing those puffs upwards with the Master Sword, they can hit you before they die.
And I'm just gonna go with vanilla spin strats here. Gonna be 4 spins, I believe, to finish off Argus. Might be 8, might be 4. No, it's just 4. So Argus explodes, another crystal down. We get a tempered sword, so that's certainly gonna be welcome for Indecisive Ninja and eventually for Sharky when he gets there. Holds that up. We get a red sword. We get a red crystal. We are on to the next area. So we have Palace of Darkness that we can complete right now on the left side. And we also have, ooh, you see the Sonic sprite turn into a Mario sprite a little bit with that bunny beam there. That's adorable. So we have a couple of overworld locations now that we're going to have to check, knowing that that Palace of Darkness does not hold those Titansmiths.
We'll have to see if Ninja is going to route up to the Pyramid Fairy with both those 5-6 crystals done to see if the myths might be in there. First things first, though, the Bombos tablet.
So Sharky getting a little bit low against Mothula here is going to need to be really careful and takes a death to the spikes.
Yeah, Fighter Sword Mothula is never fun. It is a very long fight comparatively, and those spikes, regardless of what mail you're wearing, are going to do 1 heart of damage.
So Sharky's going to go back to see what this chest is, hoping it's maybe going to be something that can help him with this fight. I think he'll be pleasantly surprised at that Sanctuary Heart in this chest here. As Indecisive Ninja, looks like he is going to head up to that big bomb area.
Yep, if you're playing the game of follow the breadcrumbs, this is a very sensible play to make.
And no, we're going west. We've decided to do something else. Classic Indecisive Ninja.
Making us look like liars here. I'm going to check the south of Grove Ledge. I would assume probably Stumpy and the shovel spot while he's over here.
So Sharky, looking for a bit of a magic refill. There is one off a tree you can bonk off of here as Mr. Pushy takes a shot at him. Steals a couple of good things. But Sharky going to avoid that tree apparently as Indecisive Ninja check it in with these bushes.
Yeah, in Skullwoods in particular, there's also a full magic pot in a room to the right of the vanilla big key chest that, with Canis Amaria, is pretty quick to get to as an option to refill that magic.
Just that tree right there. Just bonk into it. No, he's not going to bonk into it. Oh, well. So we're going to play a dig game here on the left side. This will give you an item right away, apparently. 1 dig and we got a piece of heart. He's going to pick it up. Might as well.
Well, that was friendly. 1 dig game is not something you see all the time. And I see what he's doing now. He was wiping all this out. Now it looks like he's kind of routing back toward the east. So might be going back for that Pyramid Fairy play next.
Stumpy today with the Titansmiths. We're in go mode. 127.47. Book it. Indecisive Ninja has everything he needs to beat the game. He just needs to head to get to Palace of Darkness and Ice Palace for those final 2 crystals, and we will be heading up to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, but there's kind of a moment there to pause to make sure that, you know, he was actually in go mode, and now he's heading off to Ninja. Where are you going?
He's going to go to Mire. Wants that information. What does it take to open Misery Mire? I'm praying that it's not Quake. Please don't be Quake. Oh, God, it's Quake. Check your map. Check your map. Dude, check your map, please. Disappended.
At least listen to the music when you get in.
No, we're opening that up. So, Sharky's going to have a chance to come back here.
It will depend. The music in this dungeon is going to be the Light World dungeon music. If Ninja recognizes it, he will realize his mistake. Oh, he looks like he realized it while the door was opening.
All right. Oh my God, he's messing with me. He did that on purpose. There we go. All right, we're going to Ice Palace. That's what we want. Ice Palace, nice and crystally.
Yes, definitely nice and crystally. It's almost, you know, like it's made of ice.
Almost. Oh, all right. So again, it's important to oh, there we go. There's that map check. Write that down. I like that double checking there.
And I think that's something that we've all done, where you hit go mode and you leap to the first dungeon that comes to mind, then you get there and you're like, wait, no, this isn't the place I wanted to be.
Absolutely. I mean, every runner, there's so much to keep track of. Sometimes it's difficult to tell whether or not you're in go mode. Titansmith's not a very common go mode item at that, so an understandable misstep there by Indecisive Ninja. Fixes it, though, in plenty of time to maintain his lead. Sharky, of course, still looking for that sword upgrade, as well as the Titansmiths. We'll find the sword upgrade eventually throughout the course of fighting Argus, of course. Not necessarily going to get to the hobo for that third sword, but he'll have enough to defeat Ganon.
Yep, and that other sword has become kind of a terrible location to try to route in. You can get there pretty quick from Link's house, but if he does go looking for a third sword before Ganon, that'll be a tough one to work into there.
So, chat pointing out that he checked that first chest. I don't think it's invalid to check that first chest there. I think it would be a little out of the way, a little silly to full clear this dungeon. But as far as checking chests, that one is pretty quick. Another quick one is going to be something like the Freezor room. That's the name of the nerds in there. The Freezor room, quick check. You got to go in that room anyway. You get the fire rod. You might as well spend the extra 2 seconds going there. And it looks like we're going to have no bomb jump today. With that red cane, not too much of a big deal there. But we'll have to get at least the big key this way. So if he knows he's not going to bomb jump, then he absolutely has to check that first chest.
Yep, that is very straightforward, that if you don't bomb jump, you cannot skip chests until you find it. So that kind of rounds out the reasoning for that. Other option might have been looking for that butter sword just to make the Ganon fight a little bit easier.
Exactly. Looking for that little bit of extra offense is never a terrible idea. And here is that Freezor room check. So we do have the big key here.
Yep, so that should allow him to get through this pretty quickly.
Uses a glitch there to hookshot through and pick up his compass. So those blocks are treated as though they don't exist while they're moving. Because why not? That seems fine.
He does need a small key to get downstairs, but you can grab one right in the spot right here.
And he knows it, so good heads-up play by Indecisive Ninja. Gonna head right down to Cold Stare.
Yep, and he'll have plenty of magic downstairs to refill up to full, which is, of course, required to break Cold Stare's shell with the fire rod.
And even going to pick up that fairy. So he's going to be a little bit short on magic, I think, here. And I think he knows it. Hoping for a magic drop against one of these nerds here. Does have a blue potion if he absolutely needs it. That Freezor giving him the business. And gets through. Still has 11 hearts and red mail. So plenty of defense. Just a little bit short, though, as far as magic goes. For those 8 fire out shots. Gets the red berry to drop a full magic refill. Now he's good to go. Doesn't have to waste that blue magic. Much more useful to have that for Ganon's Tower. As Sharky expertly finishes that blind fight, picks up the crystal, and more importantly, fills up his magic. So I like this play from Sharky. You know, you're going through, you died to Mothula once. Let's take a break. Let's go somewhere else, and let's get a full magic refill. One of the best ways to get a full magic refill, kill the crystal boss.
Absolutely a very easy use of time. we kind of pointed out a couple of safety magic drops that were nearby that could have gotten there, but this also takes you out of that Mothula fight before you get tilted. You don't have a chance of, I've died once here, I gotta do this, making mistakes. It kind of gives you a chance to relax on something a little bit easier.
And blind is just what the doctor ordered. However, Sharky going to continue and just go ahead and check a little bit of overworld. Looks like he's heading in the direction of those Titansmiths. So certainly good on him for that.
Yeah, he might get to go mode Swamp as well as Ice, depending on how much he's willing to bet on the sword and GT.
Either way, go moding Swamp Palace is still going to result, no matter how he routes it, with the sword upgrade. So he'll be all set, even though he won't know it after getting Stumpy's item here. And we get just one crystal left on the left side of your internet. So just a Helmosaur King. We've already been through there, so we don't even have to search for the big key.
This should be a pretty quick excursion.
And as our runners are getting close to the end of the seed, we're going to remind you, give these runners a follow. They have showed incredible perseverance throughout this seed. This has been quite the tricky one, sending them all over Hyrule in search of those key progressive items. I am confident we're going to see them, not in the later stages necessarily of this tournament. They're already going to be at 0-3 today, but in the later stages of future tournaments, definitely. We can see how these runners are improving even across this tournament. So give them a follow and watch them grow, because these will be two runners to watch down the line.
So as we enter into pod here, just gonna go straight to the back. It's kind of like what you always hope to get when you get to go mode pod, where you just have the big key right away. Kill Helmosaur, then off to GT. Sharky is still looking for that sword upgrade, so he's gonna go check Hype Cave. We know he'll get one, but
this is a good check though. It's very high density. You're already here, and even though it's not necessarily in a dungeon, it's such a fast and quick and just like great check. So even though this doesn't result in the sword that he wants, still solid routing. He slashes it for, well, it's probably not joy at those 10 bombs.
So we'll see where he heads next. If he dips into Swamp, we'll see if he takes it a little bit lightly on items, skips the left side until after Argus, at which point he'll have his sword and be in go mode, and not have to go back for it.
It'll also definitely help with that Mothula fight. So steps into a pretty dry Swamp Palace for the time being. Gonna have to flood that dam in the Light World in order to progress further in Swamp Palace.
I still don't understand why Link can't just jump up and grab that ladder.
He's a short man. He's a little guy.
I think all things considered, despite this being an Aghanim required seed, it was pretty friendly.
Absolutely. So it was a little bit linear up until after Aghanim was defeated. As far as it really bottlenecked our runners in terms of where to go, and we saw both runners taking about the same path. But after that, it really opened up with lots of crystal dungeons to choose from, lots of overworld locations to choose from. And because the Titansmiths ended up being that go mode item for both sides, it really ended up being quite a quick seed, quite a quick pace.
Yeah, Titansmiths are one of those items where when they're your go mode item, they legitimately save you time for being it, because they lock so many locations on their own. Almost sort of taking that one silver arrow, and down he goes.
What a weird looking cat that guy is. So Sharky gonna definitely check out some of these chests here in Swamp Palace. A lot of them are on his way. We'll see if he decides to check that left side for a sword or not. Hopefully just goes right to the boss, and we'll be pleasantly surprised with that Master Sword.
And with the seventh crystal, the ninja will be on his way up to Ganon's Tower.
So with that, we're going to start a game that we like to play here in the Speed Gaming Networks, and I'm going to start that off. So everybody, there are 22 chests in Ganis Tower where the big key can be. The big key is the last thing that our runners will need. So 1 to 22, get your guesses in. If you are a subscriber to the Speed Gaming family of channels, or if you've donated 250 bits or more to any of our Speed Gaming channels, you will be eligible to place on our leaderboard.
So what's your guess for big key here?
I know this sounds mean, but I like 21, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, well, I'm a commentator. I get to say what I want. I like 21 because it really gets, it allows our runners, it allows whoever's behind to catch up. Because if it's 21, if the other runner makes the opposite play as far as left or right goes, it's going to give them a chance to catch up. Which is always makes for a more exciting race. 21 also means they don't have to do tile room. Nobody likes sitting through tile room. That's just a fact. It also means that we get to see all of Ganon's tower, so we get to have these runners display their execution throughout the entire thing, and not just at the very top of the tower. So 21 is my guess. My favorite spot for the big key.
So for a lot of the same reasons, I'm just a little bit meaner than you. My usual guess is 22.
That's awful.
I know, I'm a terrible person.
And Ninja all kitted out with that tempered sword, and the silver arrows, red mail, 14 hearts. We got a couple of bottles filled with some goo, and we are inside of Ganon's tower. And Sharky is going to spend the time to check that left side. Really wants that sword upgrade.
Yeah,
how do we do stop for the stop guessing? How do we stop guessing now?
Exclamation stop.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're inside, so we're gonna exclamation mark stop now. And we're going right side first. It's always very popular to pick up these quick 2 chests, and 1 is going to be that bomb capacity upgrade, 2 is going to be a small key. And we are going full right side to start, it looks like.
Yep, this kind of, during the Open tournament last year, kind of became the standard for GT if you get that small key in the start there. At one point it was kind of the gamble play. Now you see probably the majority of runners head right if they get a small key in the first couple chests.
Getting a little close to that wall master, but manages to escape his clutches. Man, there's like more and more delay between like the middle of my sentences. It's like almost 1 o'clock in the morning here. Cut me a little slack. You're so mean.
I said nothing.
Yeah, but you thought it. All right, maybe not. I appreciate that. So Ninja takes care of those torches just fine. Gonna get rewarded with 4 chests here. Hopefully the big key for his sake. Hopefully not for our sake.
Meanwhile, these Gibdos really getting in the way.
Yeah, their business is giving him the business. And that Cane of Samaria block just enough at the end of that conveyor belt there. So we got a map at chest 3, heart piece at chest 4, compass at chest 5, and nothing doing at chest 6.
And after grabbing the key, he is going for the mirror, so he's going to take that kind of standard route of going left after the compass room. You always want to make sure to go grab that key, because otherwise you can get yourself stuck before you can get up Ganon's tower.
Nothing doing on the torch, so we're going to keep going here.
And that means our dear friend Bob will live if we get to, go visit him later.
So this is 8 right here. We get a full heart refill, so that's 9 for our Ninja. 10 is ether. Not really going to open anything at this point. And 11, another small key. So we are eliminating people who have guessed as we continue to go here. Sharky's still making his way through Swamp Palace. Only a couple chests left to check for him. The good stuff's at the end, I'm afraid, Sharky.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be stuck with that fighter sword Vitreous fight.
He's gonna get red mail here as well, so you get mail and sword upgrade in short order.
Oh, I'm nervous. Sonic keeps getting darker. I'm afraid it's gonna be Shadow the Hedgehog now. Oh, it's supersonic. That's so much better.
See, I knew that was coming, but I didn't want to spoil it for you.
Oh, I
So didn't
appreciate that.
respond
That was
earlier.
great. That was fantastic.
I really do like that conversion on this sprite, though, going full-on supersonic for red mail.
That's great. These are very well done sprites. Both of them are. I'm digging this red armor on the left side here. That looks really, really good.
Meanwhile, over on Ninja side, we saw the double fire bar room and the fire snake room, both of which without a big key.
So this is going to be 14 coming up here?
Yeah, this will be 14, 15, 16, and 17. $5, another heart piece, another $100, and another $20. Again, it is a pretty wealthy pig.
And Sharky pulling out that hammer. Hammer only takes one shot, but to kill each of these buffs, but it is going to take a while to fight the menu here.
Yeah, if I recall, it is slightly faster to do spin attacks with the fighter sword than the hammer. If you don't menu perfectly, it's actually significantly faster. But that being said, it's a lot easier to mess up the spins than to mess up a hammer hit, so many people opt to do the hammer because it's a little bit simpler.
So that glitched anti-fairy sprite is our friend Bob, and Bob today is holding the big key. So I believe that's 18. 18, is that correct?
18 sounds right to me.
All right, how do you do who the winner is?
Key 18, and then save to save it afterwards. So we are now headed up the gauntlet. Oh, Ninja got stuck on the spikes a little bit there.
He's okay. Plenty of health on Ninja's side. Plenty of health. He's stuck. Get that boomerang out. All right, we'll get some bombs. Bombs are good enough here. And makes it through.
Makes it through indeed. You'll see a lot of people do the damage boost across the spikes. He went through the more vanilla way. Unfortunately, had a little bit of issues with the pegs themselves, but vanilla way usually ends up with you leaving with more health.
So Sharky finally getting that sword upgrade at 145 into this seed here. Very happy to see that Master Sword as Indecisive Ninja picks up with that full magic refill. That's going to be helpful down the line here. Going to save him a potion usage or a trip to that refill room.
Yeah, that was definitely a beneficial drop to get right there.
So with that Master Sword, Sharky's going to head right over to Ice Palace. He is in go mode as well. Officially with that Master Sword even. And Ninja,
yeah, I'd imagine
only at 3 hearts, gonna skip that room with the 2 fairies in it. Must be feeling good.
He's got that blue potion in worst case scenario, but those 2 fairies are pretty quick, and when you're that low on health, usually the gauntlet is not easy. Those BMOs really like to hurt you.
Alright, he's making me nervous now. He's making me nervous now. Thank you. Thank you, Indecisive Ninja. I am unclenched.
Waiting until the absolute last moment of safety to be like, I guess I'll do this.
I wanted to get his value. I mean, I can appreciate that. You want to make sure you're getting the right amount of value there. How did he sneak through those spikes? You know how many times I've tried to do that? There's like 1 pixel where you can get through those spikes. I can never get those spikes.
Yeah, I know how many times you have because I have tried it many times myself and have never gotten through there.
That's nonsense. So shout outs to Ninja for being able to go through the spikes as he makes his way to the final room of the gauntlet here. Takes out the Stalfos with no problem, and then the Zazek goes down shortly thereafter.
And we're on our way to Land Mollusk 2. Got a couple options to deal with it between the Fire Rod, the Silver Arrows. Powering that Anti-Fairy is going to make it a little bit harder for him, though.
Certainly still possible here to get the 1 cycle. Not going to get it, though, with that first Miss Silver shot.
See if you can nab another silver. There it is. And just one land mold left to go.
Is that the singular? Are you sure?
I'm not sure. I'm just going with it.
Land mole. Land molana? You don't know.
That's true. I don't know. I feel like now you're just adding random letters to the end of this stuff.
No. Like that's like a Celtic thing to do is the ana to pluralize words. If you ever like studied Gaelic, like it's just total nonsense. Shout outs to people who speak Gaelic.
Fair point. That's actually a language that I know very little about. So I learned something today.
Yeah, and I don't know very much, but I know an Irish step dancing festival. It's called a Feis, F-E-I-S, and multiple Irish step dancing festivals are called Feishana.
Going through this torch room here. Forgot to lift up that skull pot before firing the fire out up there. That's not going to work out too well.
Gonna have to wait until that first torch goes out now and doesn't want to dash into the door, so... Alright, we're good. He's got some room to work with as Sharky lines himself up for a bomb jump here.
Yep, and the one thing you do got to be a little bit concerned about with the room here is the sprite despawn, but going for this magic, you pretty much make sure you won't get it.
That happened to me in a tournament. It wasn't fun. Alright, so we did not despawn G-Tower. Indecisive Ninja's moving on. He's gonna get this key, though, from, well, he's gonna figure it out eventually. There he goes. Doesn't even want to stop for those chests. He's got plenty of offense now.
Meanwhile, since Sharky has decided not to do the bomb jump, he is going to get his big key. Same place as Ninja did. Probably do pretty similar, going over to get that small key and then heading straight down.
Absolutely nothing wrong with not doing the bomb jump here. You see a lot of runners do it, but it's something where you do need to practice it. And if it's not working for you on a particular night, then it's not working. And Indecisive Ninja showing off those sword strats to keep himself on the edge despite Moldorm's best efforts. Whoa, almost took a dive there too, but gets the poke to finish off Moldorm for the second time. And he is on to Aga too. So it's always important to do what's best for you in a given race. What's going to get you to the end the fastest. And if it's skipping the bomb jump, it's skipping the bomb jump. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of people who kind of get stubborn about things like the bomb jump, just keep trying it over and over again, end up losing a bunch of time they could have saved by just not doing it. So knowing when to call it quits and move on is a very, very good skill to have.
And we're taking on Aghanim. There's 3 of them this time. That's a double to start. Very well done. 6 hits total are going to be required. He can't shoot blue balls, but his friends there will not. Another double, so we're looking at a 3-cycle possibly.
This is a pretty solid setup for it.
Ooh, lets it get away from him a little bit here. Just one more hit will do it. And down goes Aghanim 2.
He is a brave man there. He bet on that energy ball from the real Aghanim and just waited for it.
So one final obstacle in Indecisive Ninja's way to getting that first elusive win, and that is Ganon. So with Tempered Sword and Silver Arrows, not going to be too big of a fight, especially with those safeties. But Ganon always likes to give as much trouble as possible. And Sharky's going to head down into his Cold Stare fight. So 12 hits each for these first and second phases of Ganon. Those spins count as double and quadruple if he can get the double spin like he has there. So it should be all set out of the first phase at this point.
If Ganon asks about the fridge, I wonder if he's talking about Ice Palace, which is going on right on the side of him there. Why is there a light in Ice Palace?
So you can see.
Oh, Ganon almost spawned on top of Ninja there. That kind of terrified me for a moment.
And unfortunately, Sharky taking a death to Cold Stare. Cold Stare, one of those bosses where It's really difficult to take a death there because it's so long to get back, and if you don't have the magic for it, you cannot progress further in the dungeon. So Sharky going to come back later for his cold stare fight. Going to go try something else. He can go to the witch's shop, get some potions, fill up his magic that way. As Indecisive Ninja going to look to finish out phase 3 here of Ganon.
Has been making use of that cape to make sure he stays safe before he uses that blue potion to, you know, get that magic back up if needed for phase 4.
Going for that all-important torch glitch here, gets it. So only one of those torches is going to go out on him on a regular basis. It's going to be a huge magic save and just a great safety as he gets down to just 1.5 hearts. Still got that blue potion. Nah, nothing's a problem.
Shoutouts
plenty of hearts.
Shoutouts for the reaction there, letting go of the D-pad so he took no knockback from that fire bat.
And finishes off the big pig with a double, slashing his sword for joy, knows he's got this in the bag, anxiously hanging over that done button, and he is going to head into the Triforce room to snag his first win here in the Link to the Past Randomizer Spring Tournament 2018. Congratulations to Indecisive Ninja. Let's get some GGs in chat.
It's a very well-earned victory on his part.
So we're going to send him a message, try to get him in here for an interview, get his thoughts on the match. And we're going to switch over to watching Sharky here. So Sharky going to look for some magic. He's going to go ahead and bomb open this bombable hut. A little bit of magic refills in here as well as some bombs. And we're going to welcome in Indecisive Ninja into the chat here. So Indecisive Ninja, GG's, very well played.
Thank you very much. That is a PB by about 5 minutes.
Wow, congratulations. So your first sub 2 then.
Yep.
That is quite the mark.
My previous PB was 2 hours and 7 seconds.
Well, we certainly appreciate you getting that here on stream with all of us. That was quite the scene to watch. At any point, did you feel like you were ahead or behind?
I felt like I was ahead when I got the sword from Fake Flippers early from the hobo under the bridge. Because I'm not sure if they went for that or not, and then basically I had, you know, Master Sword going into Aga, and then basically through almost a Dark World.
That is quite the... And you are correct. You were largely ahead due to that sword. Certainly made your execution a lot easier to deal with than what Sharky had to face. So that sword definitely did help you out. At any point, did you feel like you were for a while? Now, as far as you got the win here, you're 1-3. We still got a couple more weeks left in this tournament. How are you feeling? Do you feel like you've met your goal for this tournament? What was your goal, if any?
My goal was at least 1 win out of 7 matches, but, you know, I'm going to keep going. Just, honestly, I'm having fun.
And you are
not
correct.
So much about the winning, just about
ahead due
the
to
race
that
and the
sword.
competition.
Made your execution awesome. That's glad to hear. It's always there's absolutely nothing on the line here for this tournament. Even the winner is just going to be, you know, Ben's going to get his name in the credits for a 3rd time. So, you know, good for him. But the rest of us, there's nothing really on the line here. So how are you feeling? Meeting personal goals, definitely the way to go. So congratulations on meeting that goal, and I think you have it within you to exceed that by quite a bit in these later rounds.
Yeah, I panicked a bit when I went for the pedestal check for fun and then locked myself in Light World.
Well, that mistake ended up working out for you because you ended up routing to pod next, and that got you your boots.
Yeah,
which
the
would have been a force
pod
double
is always fun.
I think that was ended up being quite the fantastic play for you.
3rd Aghanim seed in a row. I was hoping against hope that I'd find something in Hera that was not a sword or net.
I think both of you were thinking that. It was a pretty linear seed up until then, but then really opened up after that. So how did you decide where to go after that? Was there what was your thought process?
Well, it was just pretty, you know, like you said, it was pretty linear through Light World, and then forced Aga to Dark World. Okay, well, where can I go from here? Well, I guess I got to do the Dark World spiral. You know, started going east, got Catfish, started going west over. I'm like, oh, well, I can already full clear Thieves Town and Skull Woods, which are both crystals, so that's an easy decision.
And that play really worked out for you. No real time loss getting in there, even though they didn't quite have anything of value. And Sharky's going to head into his Mothula fight here. This is going to be his 6th crystal. So you ended up building up yourself quite the lead here.
Ah, is that so? I gotta say, Sahasrara was effing loaded today.
That was quite the pull. Three items. Unfortunately, that ice rod never really got put to good use. But finding the fire rod back. What was the third item? The one all the way on the left. The flute. Nobody can forget the flute.
Also not required though with that Meyer pendant. I kind of had a little bit of a laugh that it was such a loaded Sahasrara for 2 pendant dungeon clearing.
No, that flute was required.
Well, it was logically required to get up to the mountain.
True, logically.
But yeah, not progression, so to speak.
Well, GG's, well played. You certainly completed this seed very efficiently and were able to snag your first win. The Vampire Skewers, that arrow upgrade on the pedestal, not needed today, so that was good.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to turn it back to Sharky here as we remind everybody in chat once again, give these runners a follow. They put on one heck of a show for us today. That link's in chat. Also, make sure to follow all of our speed gaming channels for your Link to the Past randomizer needs. We're here live every day for the next couple of weeks on Speed Gaming's 1 through 6, as well as Link to the Past randomizer channels 1 through 4. So plenty of races to get your fix at today. Sharky's going to head back for his 7th and final crystal inside of Ice Palace. Just needs to clear out the Cold Stare fight. Has full magic, full health. This is and full potions, most importantly.
Yeah, he should be in pretty good shape to handle this time around. I was kind of hoping for his sake that he went and did that play up to Hobo before going back in here. But he's got enough safety. He should be fine.
Never did find that golden sword. Wonder where it could be hiding. Could easily be in Turtle Rock or Misery Mire.
Yeah, I definitely guess Turtle Rock, just for the lulz on Laser Bridge.
I mean, it was certainly skipped, and it's going to end up getting skipped by both runners here, I believe. And it's important, if you want to play Randomizer, like, there's a lot of items in this game, and if you're going to win a race, you got to skip something. You cannot get everything.
Well, you can. You're just, probably not going to win if you go all 216 every time.
Fair enough. So, Sharky's going to continue to make his way through Ice Palace here. Had a little bit of trouble the first time with these Stalfos Knights. Going to have a little bit more of safety strats here. Not going to do the fast strategy of trying to get a 2-for-1 special. But gets him out and kills him with 2 bombs and full hearts coming out of that room. Makes his way through the conveyor belt room. This is one of those rooms that can be really, really tricky and intimidating your first few times through it. But really slows down a lot after you learn to fight the current.
I was going to say, even many times after doing it, it still can be a pain. There are days when that just all goes wrong and you end up taking a boatload of damage there.
Hook shots right across the pot. Not going to worry about the bomb jump today. Already get the big key. Already have the path to Cold Stare free and clear.
Yep, it is no reason to do it. No reason to try again. But hookshot's that hard doesn't lug into the occasional double heal that you can get from doing so. I feel bad for Sharky right now having to go back through Ice Palace, especially after your opponent is already done. It's just, you hate going through Ice Palace the second time to begin with. At that point, it's even more like, why do I have to do this?
It is, but at the same time, I commend Sharky for the way that he dealt with his deaths to these various bosses. I think it was an excellent decision to kind of take a step back and go do something else. I think that's something that you don't see in a lot of runners, certainly not in enough runners, where they're able to go somewhere else and do something else, clear their mind, reset, don't get tilted, and persevere through the seed like Sharky is doing.
Yeah, he has had some of the best reactions to things going wrong that I've seen from this tournament. Because, like you said, a lot of people tend to just kind of lock in on, I need to get this done, keep going for it. And that stepping back has helped him a lot.
And he's
This
taking
Freezor,
quite a
though.
beating here from this Freezor. Just spend the fire rod shot, man. But no, he's going to dance around it. Down to 3.5 hearts.
Okay, well, he survived. That Freezor was a real big jerk.
So full magic, not quite full health going into this Cold Stare fight. Does have a potion, though. And Fire Rod does do quite a bit of damage against Cold Stare, so we could see a magic fill and health refill from that blue potion after that initial shell is unbroken. Certainly don't want to come in here again if you can avoid it.
Yep, and having that, or having any kind of magic refill, blue or green potion, makes this a pretty simple boss fight comparatively, since sometimes that Fire Rod is going to hit multiple puffs at the same time.
Getting a little low on health there. I'm clenching a little bit. Please use a potion, and he does. So that Fire Rod's going to be his highest damage option at this point, and he knows it. Pulls it out.
Getting a couple nice double hits, as well as that one super glade hit on that puff.
Fire Rod is capable of splash damage, although you don't see it too often. Out of magic, but also got 2 puffs down.
Now just taking it a little bit safe with the spin strats here. Definitely the most reliable way to take care of this.
Getting a little low on health again. Those icicles certainly providing a little bit of a challenge, but gets the job done. Picks up the small key, and more importantly, the crystal.
Yep, and that is his 7th crystal, so now it's his turn to head off to GT. Gonna have to go to that, you know, relatively late big key and then head up to Gauntlet.
We'll see if he makes the decision to stop off at the Witch's Hut, refill that blue potion. Always a welcome safety, and with the flute, it's pretty easy to get there.
Yeah, flute definitely makes it a pretty easy choice to make if you feel like you need the safety to just go get it. You don't feel like you're losing much time. But he seems to feel pretty confident.
He doesn't need it. We're going right to Ganon's Tower. We got a pig to fight. Gets that spin speed glitch using the hook shot and the dash button at the same time. Makes you go really fast, Sonic. Big fan of going fast.
Unfortunately, it also makes you jump down ledges really fast, so ended up falling down a little bit out of place of where you wanted to there.
So his Ganon fight definitely going to be a little bit more tricky unless that 4th sword ends up being deep in Ganon's Tower somewhere.
Yeah, we got the 4 chests upstairs that Ninja didn't check. It could be up there, or it's in one of the dungeons we didn't touch, most likely. He may also opt to check Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave before heading into Ganon's Tower.
Both reasonable checks on the way.
Yeah, it's rare that you get a seed where those are still full of items by the time you're heading to GT, but when they are, it's not a bad idea to jump in there if there's anything you feel like you could use to make your life easier.
So solving our little peg puzzle. I failed that recently. That was embarrassing. So he's got that on me. Sharky entering the Dark World on the top of Death Mountain. Gonna head west. We'll see if they stop into that Hookshot Cave or Super Bunny Cave for those additional 5 items. And no, we don't need any of that nonsense. We're going right to GT.
This implies to me that Sharky has spent some time practicing Master Sword Ganon. With the cape, a couple bottles, you're not too bad because you can just cape through most of the harder phases. But a lot of people still are uncomfortable with Master Sword Ganon enough to skip those items.
We'll also get to see Sharky's routing decision here. Is he going to go right side with that key in one of those first 2 chests on the right, or is he going to do the more traditional route of taking those 2 chests and getting to the left side as quick as possible?
Yeah, an interesting note. Sharky did not actually run his way through where the powder was at. So he has a little bit less safety even coming up here, even not counting the sword. He's going to go left first, though.
And that'll certainly cut down on the time to climb the tower.
Okay, or he's going to go check the torch and...
I think he just thought he had the hammer out.
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't.
I thought he was doing a torch check and then right side play there for a moment, which I have seen people do before.
Lots of ways to route Ganon's tower. All of them will get you eventually to the big key. Sharky's going to go with the most traditional of the routes today.
So I'm going to go ahead and guess that the big key is in chest 14 for him.
What? That's not a guess. We already know where it is. We're not doing the game again.
But it's my only chance to win if I already know the answer.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, it will just be in Bob's chest. It's going to be a little bit quicker for him. Just a couple rooms less that he has to check, a couple chests less that he has to check. There wasn't really anything that would be a benefit to him over on the right side, so no harm done.
Heads into that firebar room. This can be tricky to do without taking any damage. But a little bit of patience, and he just takes out one heart, gets that 20 rupees. Unfortunately, not the big key for him, but gets out of there. Still with plenty of resources. Gonna try to use the blue boomerang here, so this is kind of an NMG strat to use this boomerang to hit the switches.
Yep, it's pretty much one of the main reasons why people prefer the red boomerang to the blue boomerang, because everyone who has run NMG is more used to that than you do in the red boomerang version. Chose to take the little bit easier route of using the Cane of Samaria for the second one, though. That one is a lot more complicated to pull off with the blue boomerang.
There are lots of little things to practice in this game. Not all of them are going to be necessary to complete it, but they will all help save you some time and get you through this game faster. It gets a heart piece that fills his hearts up, so 15 hearts, red mail. Got to be feeling pretty good about that.
Yep, nothing beats the free refill in Ganon's tower.
Bombs his way through to that randomizer room. Gonna be disappointed with the contents of these 4 chests. But we'll get him 1 chest away from that all-important big key.
Given passing up Hookshot and Super Bunny Cave, I doubt it, but he does also have the option after Bob of dropping down, killing the Ice Armos real quick with those silver arrows, and checking those 3 chests very quickly.
Would also have the big chest available to him, so we could even see a big chest check in Ganon's tower today in search of that final sword upgrade. Takes a damage boost in order to get through that teleport block.
It's usually, if the beetle is following you well, it's a pretty safe way to save some time after you miss that bonk.
Easily gets the other bonk to bonk over the invisible bridge gap there and make his way into Bob's room. Without the powder, he's going to have to wait for Bob to get out or tank a little bit of damage. Tanks it and gets the big key as a result.
Yep, and chooses, nope, don't need any more chests. Let's just go up.
Only 1 small key in his inventory. That's going to be enough to climb the tower. He's going to be able to use that small key on one of the doors and get another one from the mini Helmosaurus later on.
Yep, nothing is a worse feeling than when you walk up the tower and have 0 keys. But 1, you just gotta kill that mini Helmosaur. You don't get to completely blow off the upstairs stuff.
Manipulating the mimics by pulling on that statue, they're going to go where the direction is held, regardless of if he is actually moving or not. Under certain circumstances, of course.
A nice little nudge of their direction while he was firing the bow, so he couldn't move, but they did.
And gets that longer range snipe shot on that second red mimic in the second red mimic room to advance himself closer to the gauntlet.
He is down to about half health, so he is going to want to play a little bit safe here, but...
Has an option to either use one of those potions as he's knocked down to 2.5 hearts by those spikes, or he could stop in this safety room.
Safety room is always a good choice when you're this low on health.
And he's certainly going to take the opportunity to do just that. So a full magic refill and 2 fairies in here. Won't have a bug net to put one of those safely in a bottle, but we'll get a full heart refill going into that gauntlet. Not even bothering with the magic refill, though.
Yeah, skipping that one. I was going to say, incidentally, that safety room is the entire reason why bonks are not considered a minor glitch by logic. Because the game requires you to bonk to get there. It literally shows it as a mechanic that you should know how to use. So that's why we see the bonk chest in Hookshot Cave, Bonking Tender in Misery Mire.
And pulling out Quake strats.
That's what you don't see very often.
No, it can make those Stalfos a little less bouncy, if you will. Not going to waste time doing that on these. Can also kill certain enemies. Usually, Quake will end up having the same effect as a powdering them. So in that case, turning them into onions or some such thing. Ether, though, in this room, just going to turn everything into an icicle. And we see that stun prize of 20 rupees.
And that's more of the experience that I'm used to, trying to go through the middle of those spikes. Just bounce off them and say, nope, moving on.
And we got somebody in chat complaining that Quake is so bad. Quake is the highest damage you can do in the game. It has a raw damage value in the game of 255. Doesn't get much higher than that. Unfortunately, the game is hard-coded, so a lot of it is will do something special if it takes 255 damage all at once. But number-wise, you can't beat Quake. Practically, you can beat it with just about anything.
Though, to be fair, Quake also kills dead rocks, and that makes it the best weapon in the game. Anything that can get rid of dead rocks is okay in my book.
Dead rocks certainly are the most annoying and hated enemy in this whole game, but thankfully Ganon didn't choose to include any in his tower.
Could you imagine that last conveyor room, but with dead rocks instead of mini Helmosaurs? I have just given a Plano Maker a terrible idea.
Yeah, no, I'm not playing that one. I'm not going to play that version. You can play that. I'm not playing that one. So Sharky takes care of those 3 Wizrobes with 1 Cane of Samaria shot. We got another trickier room here to do. Takes out 2 of them. Don't know how it didn't hit that 3rd one. I feel like he should have gotten at least a 3-for-1 there. But takes out the sword to pick up the rest of them.
Now we're on to torch room number 1, the terror room of please don't let sprites despawn.
Looks like he's got just enough for 4 fire rod shots. Could turn that into 8 lamps instead. Of course, there are a couple of small magic refills in this room, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem as he takes a hit from the fire bar down to 3 hearts.
Yeah, getting a little bit low here.
Taking it careful, lights the first torch. That's 2. That's 3. 1 more to go. And with no fairy, with no powder or even mushroom, he does not have the ability to refill his health coming up here. So he's going to have to be extra careful with these lasers. Gets the extra heart, gets the full magic refill.
We know Sank Heart has already been found, so there's no clutch heart container refill that's going to be happening upstairs.
So 4 hearts, just a couple rooms left, though. Nothing good in that first chest. And just 10 arrows in the second one. It's the necessary key, though. Gonna have to bomb 29 shots at this bombable wall here. I feel like he's got it with him.
He gets on the first one. Those other bombs were just, spares to show off how much he could hold. Waiting for that bunny beam to disappear before considering flipping the switch here.
And 50 bucks in that chest. Not what he needs at this point in the game. That anti-fairy is stuck a little bit. He's just going to go around. No reason to mess with it.
Okay, anti-fairy, you do you. I'm going over here.
So here's his chance to get his revenge against Moldorm, but Moldorm gets the first shot in right onto the spikes. He's down to 4 hearts. Going to have to be real careful here.
Yep, Moldorm says, "Hey, I remember you. Let me give you a hug."
Pulls out the hammer, just needs 3 hammer shots on Moldorm's tail. Getting a little close there, down to 3 hearts now. Sword does have more range, almost manages to hang on, but Moldorm gets another shot in. Doesn't land on the spikes this time, so we're going to stay at those 3 hearts.
Seemed to be waiting for those Wizards to spawn to try to kill him to farm some health, and then said, "No, this is taking too long," and then they spawned immediately after he left.
So that's 1. It can be either a sword spin or a hammer shot. And, oh, so close to getting that 3rd one in there. Takes another fall. This is not a boss fight that he's going to be able to avoid, though. He's going to have to head right back in.
Yep, just gotta kind of beat your head against the wall on this one. There's not a whole lot of option there. He's got that blue potion, so he's gonna be fine health-wise.
And gonna spend that now, might as well. Pulls that hook shot out in preparation for hookshotting across the gap there once that chest spawns. Gets the sword spin ready. Just 3. That's 1. That's 2. Need 1 more to connect here, and that's 3. Easy peasy.
There we go. Revenge has been had on Moldorm, and his final possession was just a piece of heart.
So no tempered sword for Sharky here today, so he's going to have his work cut out for him on the Ganon fight. Those silver arrows and that lamp makes quite the difference, though. He'll also have an opportunity after he defeats Aga 2 here to go refill his potions if he so chooses.
Yeah, and with Aghanim dead, it's a pretty quick return to the pyramid afterwards. You just run up from Link's house through the castle portal, so...
And if you were paying attention earlier, you'll notice that these patterns are exactly the same as what IndecisiveNinja had. Again, an example of the randomizer removing randomization in order to make for a more consistent racing experience.
Until you've taken a death, of course. Then all bets are off. It'll never be the same again. Unless, RNG smiles upon you.
Aghanim getting into trouble with that blue ball.
And this is the part where this fight gets really awkward, when these clones start desyncing from the main body and it gets really hard to hit with anything but the main shots.
I believe we're just 1 shot away, though, from victory. And he gets it. So on to the big pig.
Yep, with Master Sword, not an easy fight. You need 12 spins each for phase 1 and 2. You can only hurt Ganon with spins. So it is much, much harder. That said, with the silver arrows for phase 4, you just need the 4 spins to stun them. You don't need to worry about the 24 spins to do silverless strats.
And he's just diving right in, so he feels like he has enough. Gonna be 12 hits here per phase, and it has to be a spin, so that's one. That trident certainly is heat-seeking, so he's gonna have to get out of the way if he doesn't want to take any damage here.
Yeah, the red mail helps mitigate things, but Ganon was designed around the red mail, so it's not great for him. It's just better than what we normally have.
And this is a fight where, you know, usually we say go fast, go fast, go fast, but this is a fight where patience can really pay off. You want to be patient, not try to force through too many extra hits, and just really try to avoid taking damage and get your shots in while you can.
You have the biggest mistakes with Master Sword Ganon are from trying to get it done quick and pushing yourself too hard. You did get to phase 2 here.
At the cost of great many hearts, and takes a death here to Ganon from those fire bats.
Yep, and we'll see if he decides to go fill up some potions before heading back in, or if he just jumps back in.
So it looks like he's going to go get some more resources here. Pulls out the flute, which is potion shop, located conveniently near flute spot 2. Plenty of rupees too. Good for the Hylian economy to have this potion shop so conveniently located.
Yep, I feel like they got a little bit of a business deal with the Swag Duck, the only shop that he has direct service to.
Whoa, bucko.
Now, if he talks to the witch's assistant there, he could get a full heal for free, but did not do so.
So back to Link's house we go.
It's sad knowing that if he just walked east one screen and jumped into the water, he could be on his way to Tempered so very quickly.
Instead, we're going back into the Dark World. There is a fairy that he can get in that bonk tree right there, but not going to do that today.
Yep, choosing to just go right back in with 2 blue potions. He made it through all of phase 1 and a part or into phase 2 with less health than this the first time, so I think he should be fine.
Man, I can't even have midnight snacks anymore. It's 1:30. It'd be like 1:30 snacks. Actually, that doesn't sound too bad though. So he's pulling out that cape right now.
Count as midnight snacks?
No, that's not even close. It's a half an hour off.
That's fair. And yeah, with the 2 blue potions, cape strats are not a bad idea. Just blow through the magic to get the extra hits in.
And he's starting to conserve that magic a little bit. Just patience is the key here. Like I said, we're just going to take our shots in while we can. Get out of the way of that trident when we can. And we'll be into phase 2 in no time.
You know, I feel like Ganon spent all his time between Ocarina of Time and this game just practicing learning how to use that trident.
It's a complicated weapon, so he gets his first hit in from the second phase. Puts Ganon in a beautiful spot. Ah, he doesn't get into the corner in time, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of released that spin on the way up and it knocked him too far away to get up there. The best location for Ganon to teleport in phase 2.
Still has a little bit of magic to play with if he wants to pull out that cape. Of course, those 2 blue potions providing plenty of safety for him this evening.
Moving through this pretty steadily. Is down to 2 hearts, so probably going to use that. Yep, blue potion here.
And we get the cape back out. Going to use the opportunity to take some invincibility shots here at Ganon. Without half magic, that cape drains your magic pretty quick. But we still have another entire potion bottle to go through, so plenty for the 4th phase here.
And back to the great corner, move downward, only got 1 extra hit in there, but that was enough to push him to phase 3. There was no reason to hide in the corner.
So 4 hits here will be all that's required to push him into the final phase, and he gets the first of those 4. There are fire bats flying around everywhere, but he's going to be able to avoid that, no problem. Gets the fire bat spawn, unfortunately, on the next time Ganon sits still, wisely choosing to back up against a wall where he cannot fall down to that fire bat.
Fire bats have the dumbest knockback I've ever seen, so usually just getting yourself in a position to not fall is better than trying to manipulate it.
Ganon, please. Ganon, please. There he goes. So, gets into phase 4. Gonna have to avoid that fire bat a little bit. But other than that, should be fine here. Gonna go for Torch Glitch. Not a lot of magic, and runs out of magic just before getting the Torch Glitch. He should still be okay here.
Yeah, with silver arrows, it's not as big of a deal to get Torch Glitch. With with Silverless, if you don't get it, it's pretty much very difficult to get through. Silver is not as bad.
And he manages to freeze Ganon with that Master Sword spin. Gets the first of 4 silver arrow shots in.
Does want to be a little bit cautious of his magic. Fire Rod does eat it up pretty quickly when you're lighting both torches.
And this will be the 3rd silver arrow shot, so just 2 more. Pulls out that lamp, it looks like. No, we're sticking with the fire rod. Living dangerously. No, we're going with the lamp. I think that's very reasonable. This could be it. Nope, just barely missed it. I feel like he was just 1 frame off there.
Yeah, it was very, very close.
And we're getting to the point where magic's going to start being a real concern here. So he's going to be careful with his resources. And careful with his falling as well. Gets the torch lit, though. In a good position to get Ganon frozen.
Frozen, but he was trying to go behind him there.
Doesn't need to worry about getting a double. You can't get a double from the side. Well, you can get a double from the side. But it's a little bit easier to pull off from the back. He's running low on magic. Here it is. And just misses it. 1 frame too slow again. Checks his bottles. Sees that there's nothing. Oh no, stay away from that fire rod. So this is it. We're out of magic. It's now or never.
Gets the stun, and can he get it? Oh
and
no.
Misses. So unfortunately, he's going to have to take a fall here, or a death.
That hurts right there. He could have had it, but I think he thought he needed 1 more silver on Ganon when he went for that double. If he had just gone for the easy single there, he would have had it.
Does show you the importance of the torch glitch here in saving magic and really getting that done. He does fortunately have plenty of magic, plenty of money to go back and get some more of those potions with the witch's shop here. Might want to pick up a green one to start, and then give a little conversation over to the witch girl, to the witch's assistant rather, to get those resources back to full for the initial fight.
Seems to be his plan exactly. Picking up that shovel this time, so you might go check that in hopes of finding a sword. Go visit your friend under the bridge, Sharky.
And he is indeed going to go check that shovel spot. I don't believe we saw this on Ninja side. Just so it does certainly have a chance of being a sword location.
I was not paying nearly enough attention to the credits on the Ninja side to know if it was anything valuable. Just a little bit of couch cash.
Leaves it on the ground. Doesn't feel like he needs it. I like the confidence.
Sad to know that his name is Shark, and his one location that would help him the most is in the water. But he may never ever think of it.
Sharks do like water. That is a fact. And it looks like we're going to check more locations here. Can't figure out why else we would be heading to the Swamp Palace Dark World entrance.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he has left in this area.
Could be a big bomb check here.
That could be looking for that vanilla sword upgrade.
And looks like it's going to be exactly that. No reason to buy any small bombs. We're going to get a big bomb. Big bomb, of course, locked behind getting crystals 5 and 6. This might also be a convenient way to refill potions right in the pyramid.
Yeah, that'd be nice if the fairy gave away blue potions. It could save some trips if anything goes wrong. Hopefully he'll be getting Gan down next time, but just in case, it's a nice safety to have right nearby.
A little bit of trouble finding the mirror there, but gets the job done. These guards are going to freak out a little bit when they see a Sonic the Hedgehog appear out of nowhere with a giant bomb heading towards the castle. They're under strict orders to kill this person if they should see him. Thankfully, Sonic gives them the dance around and makes it to the Dark World with no problems.
I mean, honestly, even if they weren't under Aghanim's control, I would be pretty concerned if a, hedgehog showed up carrying a giant bomb at the castle that I was supposed to guard too. I would probably go after Link even if I wasn't unmind-controlled.
Hylian guards known for their alertness. And we blow up that side of the pyramid to enter in and see what the Great Fairy has for us today. And just a big 20 and a capacity upgrade. No bottles to throw in.
Yep, that was a change actually in V29. You used to be able to throw other stuff in, but it caused some weird stuff to be possible, so they just made it so it auto-throws bottles for you.
Turns out hacking on assembly code written in the 80s is not always easy to do.
Don't want to use that cane of burner, Sharky. You can't spin with it. Thankfully, he has realized that concern, it seems.
Yeah, Sharky's got it this time. Not a problem. Nice and patient. That's what we need. No need to rush here. And gets in a third of the way through. That's number 5 right there. Again, 12 spins needed. Gets the double off right there. That's certainly going to increase his speed.
Yep, and I know, and I think everyone who's run this game a decent amount knows how Sharky is feeling right now when stuff starts to go into an issue at Ganon, and you just keep going back. You get to a point where you're just like, I'm going to play this as safe as possible, because I just want this to be done with. Get to phase 2.
Yeah, we see how that patience paid off there. He took exactly 1 hit from that trident to have plenty of hearts to get to the second phase, just because he was patient. So it might seem like you're playing a little bit slower, but patience in a Master Sword Ganon fight is really key.
Yeah, the developers definitely never intended you to fight Ganon this way, so it's not exactly a simple thing to do.
And we see as soon as he tries for that, you know, going down low there, he gets into a little bit of trouble. He's got this fire bat headed straight at him. Is he going to get this potion off in time? And he does.
Oh, that was a minor heart attack moment.
All right, we are all unclenched now as we are going to continue this fight at Sans 2 Hearts.
It does limit the magic refills he'll have later a little bit, but assuming he gets Torch Glitch, that shouldn't be an issue.
Again, another 12 hits needed on Ganon, 12 spins specifically on Ganon to get into that next phase. Ganon won't actually take any damage from the Master Sword as Sharky gets into a little bit of trouble there underneath the fire bats. Gets out of the way though before too much damage done. Any spin attack from a sword in general is going to give a... oh, and he gets into phase 3, no problems, and gets that first hit even on the first teleport. Any sword in general is going to do the damage of the sword a level above it, the exception being the golden sword. God, so many swords to choose from. The golden sword will not do level 5 sword damage because there is no level 5 sword.
Interestingly, it does do extra damage against High Noxes, and I believe that's the only enemy. So
no kidding. I had no idea. See that? I learned something today. Alright, so we get another opportunity at the Torch Glitch here. And not really in position to get it off, so we're going to just pull out the lamp. Maybe we got time. Nope. A couple of frames too late there. A little more careful with magic this time, as Sharky pulling out the lamp right away. Gets that first freeze on Ganon. And 1 hit down, 3 more.
But as long as he doesn't give Ganon a hug, his health is fine to survive a hit. So he's gonna try to delay using that blue potion in case he needs the magic.
That's 2, we're halfway there.
Let's go, Sharky.
Sharky showing excellent perseverance as we get to the end of this seed. Just 1 hit away again, this time with plenty of magic though.
Yep, he's got a lot of chances, even if a lot of things go wrong, he should be able to get this off here. Time for that blue potion.
Accidentally
Hopefully
toggles to regular arrows. Those aren't going to do much good against Ganon.
Yeah, hopefully he notices that before he tries to fire one.
And we'll find out right here. And does indeed see the mistake, but unfortunately too slow for Ganon.
Yeah, kind of like last time, he tried to set up for a double there and ended up losing the chance to hit him when he only needs 1 more hit.
And down goes Ganon.
GG Sharky. That was a very tense fight, and I'm kind of glad it's over, because I was tensed up for that whole thing.
So making an exciting finish with an official time of 2:42.51, Sharky2107 gets the clear on this seed. IndecisiveNinja, of course, moving to a record of 1 and 3. Sharky will move to 0 and 4. I would remind everybody in chat once again, put some GGs in there, follow these runners, follow all of our speed gaming channels for even more Link to the Past Randomizer tournament action. Follow the Link to the Past Randomizer channels for even more on top of all of that. We've got plenty, if you are enjoying this race, for you to watch more of. At 1:48 a.m., we are going to call it there. We are going to go to sleep now. We're going to sleep. So again, GG's to the runners, GG's to everyone. Shout-outs to my co-commentator and the entire production crew here on Speed Gaming 2. And thank you for joining us. We're going to head out and have a good night.
Take care, everyone.